the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a day. Foul territory on a Tuesday. Packed house too. Oh, I like this. I like everyone's shirts today. AJ's is kind of boring. There's no words on it, but we got the Lake Show for Jonesy. Nice. Your boys looking good, huh?
They're looking good. Up 3-1. I'm happy. A lot of people are happy. Series is not over.
No, absolutely. Although I kind of feel like it's over. Yeah, I do kind of feel like it's over.
I also
I
feel like
don't want to jinx it, but I feel like it's over.
It's the champs. You got to beat the champs first. You got to win the series, not be up 3-1. You got to win it. Close it out.
True. I got everybody does not get a trophy. Our friends at Tires Baseball. We'll talk more about them in a sec. And Kratzy, you want me to read it? Cheesesteaks and hoagies and soft pretzels and
water ice. Is this supposed to be water ice for us that don't speak Philly? Yeah. Not everybody in Philly says water, but I grew up saying water. I moved away. I kind of say water and water sometimes, but water ice. If you know what it is, the shirt matters.
If you know, you know.
If you know it's in Philly.
You're getting the Philly respect right there. Okay, for me, Pete Abraham is going to join us on the Red Sox. Been covering them on a daily basis for a long time.
Is it Pete or Peter?
Either one. Most of the time when you ask someone that, they'll say either one. I call him Pete. Pete Abe is his Twitter account. Literally, Pete Abe writes for the Boston Globe for a long time. So I would say Pete.
Okay. So if I call him Peter?
Peter is more like Peter.
Peter, you've been a bad boy.
If you go, hey, Peter, Red Sox make the playoffs, and he says yes, and you go, Peter, that pitching staff, though, in September, come on. And then
with your glasses on? I love that.
Yeah,
Pull
exactly.
them down just a little bit, or just barely on the end of your nose.
And Joe Musgrove. Jonesy, do you know Joe?
A little bit. I mean, we've faced each other a few times from the same city, but I'm a little bit older, so not really.
12 times to be exact. 12 times.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but we
looked it up?
We don't hang around the same circle, don't know each other that well, but throughout the game, we have a mutual respect.
I'm excited to talk to him. I mean,
you are fired up, dude.
Why?
I haven't seen you this fired up in a long time.
That's because I'm on.
No,
I'm
because
on
you know why? He's going to be like this the whole time.
Stirring the pot?
Oh, you're so excited for it.
Yeah, I am.
You are super excited to
There's
stir the
reasons
pot.
for it, so.
Scotty woke up at 8:30 this morning, so he
woke up at 8:30. Are you kidding me? I woke up at 6:30.
This is the first time Scott's been up before 7 since maybe he was going to school.
Oh, sorry that I go to sleep at 3 a.m. because I'm working. I have a job.
Do we need to get the rave video out of you?
Oh, sorry that I went out from 3 to 6 a.m. on a Saturday and took 3 hours of my own time. Sorry that I'm nailing sponsorship deals and new partnerships for us. On that note, let's charge the damn mound, presented by our friends at Tires Baseball. Let's get it. Aaron Judge is back.
Yeah. Take the
That's
over.
all I have to say.
That's all you're saying?
Take the over. Take the over tonight. He's back.
I don't know.
He's been feeling fine too. Apparently he's been feeling good for almost like the past week. Obviously eligible now to come off, and he's okay. But Aaron Boone said yesterday, MVP back, going to be fun to write his name back into the lineup.
What's the odds? I know someone knows this. What's the odds of him hitting a homer tonight? They got to be pretty high, right?
What do you mean you know someone knows it? I'm the betting
195.
guy.
Well, that's
is that
low.
what it is?
That's low though. Plus 195. That's think
low.
He's going to hit a homer. Yeah, they pretty much are saying he's going to hit a homer.
Yeah.
So with lefty, right? Soft throwing lefty.
Also, who's he playing?
No, Raczynski's a righty.
Oh, he's a righty?
I don't know.
You sure? It's Raczynski. It's Raczynski from the.
It is. It definitely is because I did my homework on that. Is he a righty or lefty? That's my bet for later.
Righty or lefty?
I think a righty from Korea.
Guy?
He might be ambidextrous.
He's a switch pitcher.
No, they had one of those.
Pat Venditti.
No, yeah, Venditti.
Yeah.
How do you go into DL if you have two arms at work? Like, okay, my right shoulder's sore.
Use the other one.
Like, how do you go into DL?
Did he? Did Pat Venditti go on the IL?
I'm sorry. How did you go on IL? I do apologize.
Did he go on the IL for that?
I'm sure. No, throughout his career he went on the IL. But how do you go on IL if you have two shoulders? Like one
Because they
shoulder's
both.
bothering you, just go with the other one until
How
that
do you
one
go
gives
on?
out.
How do you go on the IL if you're a switch hitter?
Because you hurt your
Well, it
back.
depends on the
I'm
injury.
kidding.
Depends on the
You
injury.
I know.
Yeah,
can hurt your
Completely
foot. I mean, there's a lot of ways.
Okay.
Yeah, completely different injuries.
You're being, dude, you're
AJ,
just a
why do you have
hater.
to take everything so literal?
You're a hater, bro. You're a
What's
hater.
wrong with you?
Dude, I got the whacker. I got the Scott
I think
Whacker.
you were up too early and fired up from some of our interviews that come out.
Hey, I wanted
later.
to say something. Hey, Kratzy, I was just riding bikes to Barcelona with Jeremy Guthrie. He told me to tell you hi.
Come on.
Random, he's out here. He's a weird.
Wait. Jay Guts was like recently out there because he was just
Like-
at Locane's
No,
retirement.
like 30 minutes ago, we got back.
Jay Guts. I bet he
Yeah,
wasn't
6
sweating at all.
miles.
That guy never sweats. He's got a weird like his torso's just as long as his legs, and he never sweats. So he just when he rides a bike, it looks like he's like way above everything else. It's
I
What a
gave him
guy.
a slow. I gave him a slow bike, and he still was keeping up. I'm like, this
what a
guy's
guy.
strong.
He is
Yeah.
a renaissance man for sure.
Definitely random.
Aaron Judge is great too, so he's back for the Yanks. I mean, there's not.
Wait, is that what we're talking about? Thought we were talking about
Aaron
bike riding.
Judge.
I mean, honestly, there's not a ton here besides the fact that he's one of the top swingers on the planet, and the Yankees haven't looked great. And in addition to missing him and being, in my mind, a top-heavy ball club, they're missing a ton of players. So it helps to get this one back.
Of course, he carried him last year. That's why he was the most valuable player, because he carried the Yankees into the postseason
Looking
last
at
year.
me as if I voted for Shohei Ohtani. I don't get to
You
vote.
media members, you guys all love the war
You
stuff.
mean- I got a question for you and AJ, for
Oh,
both
God.
AJs, for this AJ, the triple AJ question. As everyday guys, did you ever get put on the IL for an injury that really wasn't what was bothering you? In the sense of like, he got put on for the hip, and all we saw was that slide and him like constantly going at his hand, and then, his last at bat, he struck out and he pulled his hand off. Did you guys ever get put on the IL for something that was not?
Did you
exactly-
also see where he said he's now going to start sliding feet first?
Well, so this
He
is what
came
I'm
out and
saying.
said, "Wait." I'm like, "Wait, if your hip hurts, you'd rather slide head first than slide feet." Doesn't make any sense.
I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, but
I got put on the Phantom DL twice, by the way. IL, sorry, excuse me.
well, I did that too, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I asked them if I could pick my injury, and they told me no.
Why? What did they make you?
They said hamstring. I'm like, I don't run fast enough to pull a hamstring, so that's a lie. Everyone's gonna know that's a lie.
Why did you go on the Phantom IL?
Because it was my last year, and they needed to get to September, so they're like, "Yeah, we go home to Orlando for 2 weeks, hang out. The Gulf Coast League's down here. Don't show up. You come back on September 1st. It's August 15th. Come back. Don't do anything for 10 days, and the last 3 days, go goof around with the Gulf Coast League, and we'll see you September 1st. I'm like, oh, let me see. I get to be at home, do nothing,
Paid.
hang out, I was going to get paid either way, but, and then I come back and said, oh, okay, deal.
Mm-hmm.
Deal.
Not allowed to do that though, technically.
Not allowed.
I mean, some of those people that were in charge of that team got banned from baseball for life, so apparently they did a lot worse.
Yes, they did.
On Atlanta,
Yeah.
there's only one, and he's actually reinstated.
Yeah, well, I know he got banned for life. Now
Correct.
he's reinstated.
Now he's back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
So
back.
that was nothing.
That was small potatoes
That was
for what
pebbles.
they did.
Did they make
Yeah.
you take a evaluation from a doctor for your strained hamstring?
God, no.
So they made
No.
when I had to do that, they made me see the doctor. It was the most, like, I pride myself in being an honest person, and to sit there and say the doctor was like, "Hey, how does your hamstring feel?" And like I had actually gotten hit by the ball in my hamstring, so like it was sore. He's like, "Hey, bend over and touch your toes," and I was like, "Yeah, ow." Like it hurt. It felt
No, they-
so awkward
Ugh.
to have to lie. It was like if you're not telling the truth to me, you're lying. Like it's not like half truths, and it was awkward. They asked me to do it again, and I said no because it was not. I wasn't going to do it.
Okay. I understood.
Why do you have to go to the doctor for that?
I didn't go to the doctor. They just were like,
Is that
"This
an
what we're doing."
MLB thing? Like where
Yes.
they have to report,
What
hey,
year was this?
Eric went to the doctor. Here's his note, and this is why he's absent.
I won't say it because people are still employed.
Oh. None of my people are employed anymore.
That's
so it
heavy.
doesn't
That's
matter.
heavy. Adam, any phantom ILs in your life? No.
No chance.
Mine were both in the
didn't-
same. Mine were both in my last year, 16. So they
Yeah.
did it to get me in September, and then they came to me and said, "Hey, this is gonna be your last game." It was like mid-September, and they're like, "We're just gonna release you." And I'm like, "Just put me on the fake IL again, so that way, in case I do want to play, which I knew I wasn't, at least I can just whatever." And they were like, "Okay." They threw me back on for a hamstring, but I was like, "Gosh, I wanted to pick the injury, and you guys wouldn't let me."
And I was
What would you
crushing you
pick?
too.
Oh, dude, anal fissure.
Oh.
I don't even know what that is, but I saw someone go on the IL with it once, and it just sounded funny. Because here's the thing, people then would know it was fake.
Unreal.
I don't even know what that is, but somebody went on it once, and I was like, I always wanted.
Did you
That's
request
awful.
I did.
You said that to them?
Yes.
And they said
They
no.
said we're going with hamstring. I said, okay.
They didn't want the press around it.
No,
Well-
because then the media would have come up to me like, "Man, how's your anal problem?" I said, "Well,"
And then you can tell them it stinks.
yeah, it's fissured.
Oh my gosh.
No, that was we had a true. There's Brian Snicker at True Meeting. Snicker was the manager at the time.
Yeah.
It still is the
It
manager of the
still
Braves.
is.
He was just in the room, like he had nothing to do with this
Sure.
whole meeting. And then the GM and the people in charge, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna either let you go, or we're gonna put you on the IL till September." I'm like, "Well, just put me on the IL. I don't care. What do I do? Go home, hang out." And I'm like, "What did I hurt? Because I'm not hurt." They said, "Well, what do you want to have hurt?" And I said, "I got a great idea. This will work. Nobody will believe it." And they said, "Well, what is it?" And I said, "Anal fissure." And they go, "No." And they looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, "Yeah, that'll work." And they said, "No, we're just going to go with right hamstring tightness because people will believe that." And I go, "Well, no, they won't because I've never pulled the hamstring in my life." And they're like, "Okay, well, it's hamstring. Enjoy your 2 weeks." I was like, "All right, see you guys in 2 weeks."
I was crushing you too back then. Because what year was that?
16.
2016. I was like in my prime MLB Network days. I was like, Pierzynski hurt again with the hamstring. Dude can't stay on the field.
Again.
Dude is toast. When his hamstrings start not
Oh,
working,
man.
he's not
Cherry
running the
picking.
bases like he used to, guys.
Nope, never.
That's good shit.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't think we were going to go that direction, but
No.
um,
Welcome back, Aaron Judge.
yes, welcome back, Aaron.
Aaron Judge is not on the
We were
it's
talking-
not
hey.
a fake IL. It's
No, we
not
were
a
talking
fake
about
IL.
Kratz brought us there. He's talking about he's doing this, and then he hurt his hip, and then mysteriously he doesn't want to slide head first anymore. So I don't know.
Conspiracy theory
Reddit,
show. Reddit. This will be all over Reddit. Wilson Contreras back to Wrigley. The gift that keeps on giving. After all of that from the weekend, now we get to dive into his return along with some updated news on his situation with the ball club. Which one do you want first? You want the return or let's do the return. Our amazing production staff deciding the direction we would go first. Nice ovation for him from the Wrigley faithful. And then same or similar ovation from what I saw. I'm not there, but from what I saw for first AB. Giving him a lot of love. I mean, he spent a lot of time with this team. He won a World Series with this team. Yep, playing to the crowd. That was before the game. And then after the first AB, he's the enemy. So it was actually perfectly done in my mind, Jonesy, by the crowd. It's like, let's give him his love, and now you're a Cardinal, and you had 2 knocks against us, so we hate you.
100%. You got to show him love. Won a World Series there, and I mean, played 6 years there. You got to show him some love. And then, hey, screw you, your opponent. Like,
Oh my God! Time out. Hold on, dude. Scott, I don't know if you guys saw Amir Garrett like vomit on the mound last night, but Scott just—I don't know what you would call that.
I
But
spit up
it
all
was
over the
yeah.
all over the
I mean, that's
It's like a
that's how it
2-year-old.
goes.
Jonesy's got me today. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
man.
That's how it goes.
When
And
you're on,
especially,
you're
like,
on.
But if he went to any other team, literally, like any other team, it would have been fine. He went to the Cardinals. Any other 28 other teams, it would have been fine. Cardinals, he's gonna get booed. But hey, I'm glad they show him his flowers for one at bat, and he deserved it. But now he's the enemy forever.
And he was playing to the crowd too with it.
Yeah,
he
for
was like a
sure.
wresler.
Yeah.
But don't you love that? You love
Oh, dude.
wrestling.
Oh, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
He hit that double, and he's like, bring it on. And he
Oh,
didn't
for
stop. It went on for like a minute of him standing there doing it. First hit, he did it. Then he did it again after he got that double to give him the lead. Listen, he played it perfectly if you're Wilson Contreras, because he's been taking some crap, to say the least. And then he goes out against his former team after all the crap had come out, and he gets a huge hit, and he's like, bring it on, bitches.
Only good players get booed.
Oh, no, only players. You only get booed in places where you did something to break their heart. Because if you did something in a place to break their heart, then they boo the crap out of you. Trust me, as someone that lived that life, I know all about it.
No, yes to that, but also, I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be booed everywhere.
Yeah, they thought he was the face of baseball. He took steroids and broke all their hearts.
Fair, good call.
So absolutely.
But how did Wilson break their heart? They didn't even trade him. He just left.
Because he signed with the Cardinals.
That
And they
wasn't his
thought
fault.
they were. I understand that, but dude,
Right.
people don't
I
know
get
that.
Right.
Listen, I got
They don't
traded
know
from
anything.
Minnesota. I got traded from Minnesota away. I didn't want to leave. They traded me. I come back with the White Sox. Boo! You left us. I got traded. It wasn't like I left on my own because I wanted to leave. I left because you guys had Joe Mauer.
This is where we needed the microphone for you, like WWE style, where you grab and you go, "You're booing me?
Oh yeah,
You traded me.
exactly.
I should boo you."
Shut
Or if
your
we had a
mouth.
show where you could go on and talk about a trade, like unfiltered.
This is how it really happened.
Yes.
Oh, this is what exactly happened. Yeah.
Yeah. If only this existed for AJ back then.
Yeah.
Oh, this would have been
It
fantastic.
was called Jim Rome, and that's why the commissioner would call me and say, "Hey, you can't say that on the air anymore."
And then what was your response?
Why not?
Free speech.
Yeah, why can't I say that? Well,
Going back on Rome.
yeah. Jim Rome would have me on. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. The next day, that's from Bud Selig. Please hold in your hotel room. Oh, yeah?
Bud would call you
Oh, yeah, a couple times he called
In
me.
your hotel room?
Oh, yeah.
and say, "AJ, stop it."
I can't believe it. 2002 All-Star game was in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay? The tie game. Everyone remembers the tie game. And Jim Rome set up in the lobby of the hotel, the Pfister, and he's like, "Hey, will you come on?" And he's like, "I heard you're a good interview. Let's do this." So I sit and do the whole interview. And during the interview was right when the contraction stuff was going on with the Twins. So the MLB was trying to get rid of the Twins and the Expos. And we went through a whole offseason of, are the Twins going to be a team? Are the Expos going to be a team? Yada, 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 all the negotiating ploy. So he asked me about Bud Selig. And I said, listen, Bud Selig was nothing but a used car salesman that somehow got to buy the Brewers and got to become the commissioner of baseball. By the way, all true. No, it wasn't like it wasn't true. Next day, or did I get back? I forget where we opened the second half in. Hello? Yeah, this is, I don't know, Scott Braun, Bud Selig's secretary. Please hold for the commissioner. Oh, well, why is everybody calling me? Yeah, AJ, I just want you to know that please stop saying things about me like being a used car salesman on the air because I really appreciate it. And I was like, well, weren't you a car salesman? He's like, yes, but we don't want people to know that. Thank you. Could you? Wait, what?
Did he say it that nicely?
Yeah, I mean, he was nice,
Really?
but it was just awkward. Just awkward. Like
I love that Braun's his assistant. That's
I did work for MLB for a long time.
No, but it's like, wait, that's, I don't know.
That's incredible.
That's funny.
That's great.
I wonder if that still happens.
I don't
Excuse me, I don't like what you said. I don't think you can hold people back anymore. They also all have social media, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a different world. Back then,
this
it was like,
before, you barely had a cell phone back then.
yeah, you were barely Googling someone. Like nowadays, you just Google someone, and you can see their whole life.
Oh, yeah.
The team controls you a little bit. They have a little bit of a say so. They all follow you. Every last person that works on the team follows you, and they went over that probe a couple years ago where I guess some people were just tweeting bad things. So I know the Orioles at the time just asked everybody for their social media and just to filter everything through it and make sure they don't have any hate speeches, slurs, or just anything that would be detrimental to anybody. So I remember they did all that stuff. So it's kind of like easier to keep for us now. For athletes, it's easier to keep our social media clean. So every time an athlete does say something out of pocket, I guess they always blow it up because we're supposed to be honorable, or we can't be human. You know what I mean? I just jump into my pants. Put them on all the time.
Did you ever get in trouble for tweeting something?
No, I got called. I didn't get in trouble for tweeting, but I got called in. The lady, it was like Twitter, like 2010 or something. And I remember this too because I told one of my friends, I was like, man, stop being a little bitch. Bad tweet. But I tweeted it, and she 10 minutes later, Adam, you cannot tweet that stuff. I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, the whole world can see this stuff. I'm like, I didn't know. So now I know not to say that, and it was bad to say anyway, because that's just not something nice to say. But yeah, I made sure that keep social media clean, and it's easier for athletes to do it. That's why every time that somebody says anything that's not the normal good game, and dang, I should get in the gym, I need to stay off the slider. Anytime you say something different than that, they always retweet it and ends up on the CNN or Fox News.
That's good shit.
True.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't have Twitter.
And now you do.
Now I do.
Now it's the gift that keeps on giving. So
now I won't stop. But the funny part is you guys know, you guys have had it way longer than me. People say some stuff on there, and if you take it serious, you could send some stuff back to some dudes or people.
Oh, that's what they're trying.
That's what they want you to do, and I just laugh.
Half of Twitter
I think
is
funny as hell.
It can get dark quick because there's just people out there, and again, there's a lot of people that create fake accounts. It's a shit show when it comes to social media. You don't know who's real, who's fake, and especially Twitter is even more. It's just a bunch of people that's living in a hovel in their basement talking to billionaires. Stop. You're not in the same ballpark. I mean, no offense, but you're not in the same ballpark. You know what I mean? But it's somebody said this perfect thing. Sorry, real quick. Perfect way to describe social media. Said, remember in school when everybody was in honor classes? People in honor classes. It was a select group that was in the honor classes. Everybody else was in this class. Twitter is everybody's in the same class now. And I was like, well, damn, that makes sense.
Yeah. Even if you
Total sense.
give no fucks and you're just
remedial,
calling everyone out.
Yeah, if you got held back 3 times, if you can't read, write, you can't conjugate anything, we're all in the same classroom now. Elon Musk or the smartest brain is with not the smartest brain. We're all in the same.
Which sometimes creates great theater, I will
True.
say.
Yeah.
It makes you say Wooder Ice.
Wooder Ice for sure. What the hell is Wooder
True.
Ice?
For a few minutes that we have before Joe Musgrove is scheduled to join us, the other layer of the Wilson Contreras story is an update to the story. There was a big meeting that went down on Sunday with Wainwright, Flaherty, Ollie Marmol, and they called it one of the most productive days of the season. Marmol did. Waino said they told him they love him, and it's not his fault that they suck right now. That went down on Sunday, and there were a lot of good quotes, too, about the whole situation. Contreras said there's a plan. He'll be back to catcher soon. Marmol quote on the situation: when you think about the investment over the next 5 years, I feel really good about what we have in place. It may not make sense to many people in the moment. I promise you it will. There's so many different layers and elements to what we're talking about. We are making sure he understands the full process of how we think through a game plan. And then I'll say he wouldn't elaborate on that. And he was just like, trust me, you're going to know. And he said, this is not going to feel good. The timing of the return to Wrigley sucks, but it's a small blip in the story over the next 5 years. This looks reactive. It sounds like shit when I say it, but I actually think it's proactive. And the media kept being like,
No.
What does he have to do? How does he get back? And he's like, I can't tell you. It's all going to make sense. We're smarter than you. I can't tell you right now, but this is all part of our master plan to demote him a month into giving him almost $90 million.
No. Kratz, I don't know how you feel about this, but we blew this up yesterday for like 40 minutes.
But this is part 2.
This is part 2. So this is all I'm going to say about this. They could have handled this way differently. They could have just not gone public with this, demoted him from catcher, and then now we're having meetings. Why didn't they have a meeting before they demoted him from their catcher? Well, now they're having meetings with Jack Flaherty, a guy who publicly called him out and said, well, he's not calling the right pitches. Adam Wainwright, who has had 1 start this year and hasn't even really thrown to Wilson Contreras. Listen, Waino's the leader of the team. I get it. But why are they having this meeting after they demote him? Shouldn't you have this meeting before you make this public and say, we're trying all these things, give it a chance to get there, and then, oh, by the way, he's not our catcher anymore. We're going to keep working with him. And then you don't come out and say what he's doing wrong. This screams we're covering our ass right here.
It screams like just talking out of both sides of your mouth. Like all of a sudden, I don't want to share something. It's over compounded in the media. All of a sudden, you're not sharing something. Like you talk about Harrison Bader doesn't run. You talk about Tyler O'Neill doesn't run. You send Jordan Walker down because of XYZ and X3 squared. But now all of a sudden, oh, we're really tight-lipped about this one. We're going to keep it in-house. Like that's the first thing they've kept in-house. And to me, this isn't on Wilson. I think Wilson's handled it incredibly well. I think Waino, what he said was awesome. You know, we're going to love this guy. We're going to come around this guy. We're going to bring it around this guy. But to me, in there might be, and you can attest to this more, Pierzynski, I always want to say AJ, but I got 2 AJs today. So you play for the Cardinals. They can be, and this is a quote from somebody that I played with, one of my good friends that was there, said the Cardinals family is the most nicest, least inclusive people that I've ever been with. Said they love their circle of people, and if something goes wrong and you're not that original core, they're going to point to you. And I'm not saying they're pointing to him. I'm saying there's more people that are culpable in this than just Wilson. Like, you need to give this guy a scouting report. If that's what, to me, I'm reading between the lines, they're saying, well, he doesn't quite know how we prepare. Technically, they probably have just ridden the coattails of Yachty this whole time, and they've been like, wait a minute, well, Yachty used to do that. Well, used to just do that. Me, wait a minute. We got to pick up our slack. So to me, this is more on the organization. What do we have to do? How do we get, like, they signed this guy, and it goes all the way to Mo up all the way up in the top. He signed him. What kind of value do they have? And how are they going to get the most value out of him? A month in, turning course, and now they just have a DH for the next 5 years? I don't think so. Like, there has to be, like, just this meeting needs to happen at the beginning of the year. Hey, you're part of a new organization. We're bringing you in. You're our family. This is how we do things. Not, oh, crap, 1 month in, we've lost some games. Now we do stuff. Need to be more proactive than reactive.
You said, yeah, that's it. You nailed it. That's what I mean, as Scott, we went off on this. Pretty much just what you said, Kratz.
No, that was perfectly stated.
That was exactly what I said yesterday.
Yes.
There's better ways to handle this, and sad that it's all come down on him.
Because it's not on Wilson. It's not. Yes, some of it's on Wilson. But to me, scouting reports are a third what you see in games, a third advanced /analytics, and a third the work you put in. It's not all on Wilson. You have to bend over backwards to be able to help certain players be their best, and especially catchers. Like, if you bring in a new left fielder, like, you might not have to bend over backwards, but you got to tailor some things to what that guy needs. And this is how you make the best out of a player. And to me, it's on them.
Yeah, and he's going to be there for a while. So now watch them like win 7 out of 8, and then it's going to be weirder because then how does he get back to catching again? Anyway, Charge the Mound was hot. Shop at TireSpaceball.com where you'll find high-quality Tyrus maple bats, pine tar grip sticks, rosin bags, and other accessories. The pros know Tyrus to you. If you only saw what happened on the set just now. Violence is not the answer. Hey, he's been waiting for a minute and a half. Listen to Kratzy wax poetic, so let's bring him in right now. Did I say an hour and a half? Minute and a half. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I've been up way too early. Oh, wow. Styling.
Ooh.
Padres pitcher Joe Musgrove.
What do you got on this
right
shirt,
now.
boys? This was an aggressive play for my first time on the show.
Hey, was that your City Connect uniform?
No, this I want a quick shout. I don't mean to steal the show, but my buddy with the band Pepper out of Hawaii, they partnered up with Volcom, and he always sends me some gear. So just unpacked this thing yesterday, rocking it first day.
No, that's sick. That's awesome. We'll plug their socials with that too. I mean, that's
Yeah.
That's what I
That's
wear.
a Scott Braun shirt
That
if I
is
ever seen
that's
it.
Scott Braun in Tulum. That is good shit. I like that.
I
Joe.
look out of place in Minnesota.
You got what?
I look out of place in Minnesota.
You need a flannel. Fit right in.
No, you're styling in Minnesota. All right, so first off, Joe, appreciate having you on. Excited to get into things, but we were just talking about the situation with Contreras in St. Louis. My question to you more on the pitching side is, how has this year been, especially with pitch count? Because now the pitch clock's here, a lot more pitchers are just kind of controlling the ship and calling their own pitches.
Yeah, I kind of caught the tail end of what you guys were talking about. I honestly haven't really kept up with the whole Wilson thing. I saw that they were talking about taking him out of the catch and roll and DHing him or what. I don't know what the reason was, but it sounded like there was some issues with, either the game prep or the pitch calling that they didn't like. Is that right?
Pretty much. Well, they didn't say anything specific. They just said that Wilson Contreras is going to be our DH outfielder. No, wait, now he's a DH, and now we're going to bring him back to catcher sometime in the future. But we're not going to tell you what he does wrong. You'll just know it. So pretty much whatever you can imagine is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few different types of pitchers, but the main two you see are guys that are like the Burleys that don't shake, and any pitch is the right pitch if you execute it. And then there's guys that feel they have this scientific algorithm that's going to guarantee you success. So I've always leaned towards the side of prep and know what guys do well and what they don't do well, and when you get out there, it's kind of flow of the game stuff. I think it's important to game prep. I think it's extremely important to look at the numbers and show, these are statistics, these are facts. This guy's not doing damage on these certain pitches. But when I'm game planning, I'm never going in there saying we're going to start him off with this pitch, then we're going to, get him to 2 strikes with this and put him away with this. It's always, this is what I feel like we can start him off with. He's either very patient towards this or over aggressive towards it. And then this is what our best put away option is. The middle stuff, let's read the swings. Let's, take into account the scenario of the game, where we're at and, the innings wise in the game, and kind of play things, just trust your eye and trust your gut and the baseball instinct. So the pitch comm has been super helpful this year. If there is any confusion or if I get a sequence set up exactly how I want, I can kind of skip the whole process of getting through pitches and I can just tell you right away what I want to get to. But it creates a lot of overthinking when you're out there trying to plan 3-4 pitches in advance and, think you're doing yourself a favor by, calling the game and thinking you got everything. I put a lot of trust in the catcher. He sees things that I don't. He's got the hitter's mindset in certain scenarios. So I put a lot of trust in my catcher. So I, very, very rarely end up using the pitch comm myself.
Would you handle it the way that I guess you haven't heard, but would you ever throw your catcher under the bus in public, in the paper?
Absolutely. Never, I feel like there's been a couple scenarios with St. Louis this year that, they've kind of burned their guys a little bit. And, it doesn't go over too well in the clubhouse, not only with the guy you do it to, but the rest of the players that are in there.
I got one more. You were saying about the pitch comm. The pitch comm, so you have it. Do you hold it or does the catcher hold it? How do you
the catcher's we both have a monitor. I got one on my belt. He keeps one on the shin guard. And he's calling the pitches a majority of the time. So by the time I catch the ball and I'm walking back to the mound, I'm already hearing a few options in my head. And there's plenty of times where I'm in between and I'll hit, cutter up and in or curveball down and in. And I'll just kind of look at them like, what do you think here? Give them a couple options and make sure we're on the same page. So you can kind of eliminate mound visits too, in a sense.
So with that, are you ever afraid that front offices are going to be like, hey, we want a pitch comm and we're going to hit the button?
I hadn't even thought about that, honestly, but that'd probably be the last day I use PitchCom.
Hey, what's up, Joe? I was down in Mexico. It was great to see you down there. Great to see everybody. First, I want a 2-part question. Hopefully, did you get the shits? Logan Webb was saying that everybody was getting the shits down there.
Dude, I think our crew made it out of there safe. We had a bunch of the staff and like family members and stuff that got sick. A few of my buddies that went down there that stayed and ate, outside of the field and outside of what the players were eating. They got sick, but I think as long as you stayed within that little bubble down there and ate food that you knew was safe, we all ended up pretty good.
And the other part is growing up in San Diego, growing up around Mexicans. We grew up around me and you. We grew up around the Mexican culture.
Yeah.
How was that for you to pitch in Mexico City? You know what I mean? We grew up around the luchadors. I was there doing crazy stuff out there when you guys were relaxing, going to lucha libres and all that. But just that experience, because we grew up around that culture.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of ties to it, man. I mean, I wish I could have gotten your perspective in a sense. I absolutely wouldn't have traded the opportunity to play down there for anything, but I wish we had more time to get out and then see a little bit more of the city and kind of dive into the culture a little bit. But yeah, a lot of that stuff. And I think, you take it for granted sometimes, the ability to just drive down the street or, hop on the trolley even and have it take you right to the stadium and catch a game whenever you want. Those people down there aren't getting access to that. And then, there's tons and tons of kids down there that have the same dreams that we all did when we were kids, and we just had a lot more availability and opportunity. So to go down there and, we did that baseball camp with a bunch of the kids down there, like 150, 200 plus kids. Seeing the excitement, even at a young age, their attention to detail and, even down to the uniforms, you can just tell they love the sport and, getting to be some of the first ones to go down there and interact and show them a little bit of what Major League Baseball is like firsthand was really, really cool.
The only part that wasn't cool, because we had Stripling on the other day, it was pretty elevated down there.
That shit sucked, dude. That sucked. Yeah, they should have switched up the rules. They should have brought back some spider tack and some sticky stuff. Made it a real fun game. We're struggling.
That's exactly what he said. He was like, no one's going to want to pitch down there when there's a series down there every year. They're going to be like, no thanks. This is going to crush my ERA.
Right, and I was joking around with Preller. He goes, "Yeah, thank God we got that deal done last year. That wouldn't have looked too good on your ARB case." So, yeah.
Incredible. I love it. Hey, on that topic, so, I mean, we know the story. Grew up in the area, massive Pods fan. Fam was diehard for years. Dad, since they were a team in '69, I think is when they started, and you had season tickets since they moved to the new park in 2004.
Were you at the first game of the new park?
No, but I was at one of those first week games. Yeah, I was there pretty early on. We had season tickets for those first 2 or 3 years. We split them up with my dad and his 4 brothers.
So now we come full circle. Of course, you're on the squad, but then here's the next layer. San Diego only has one pro sports team now, and you guys are the show in town. I've been there many times over the last couple of years, especially, and it is one of the best vibes in all of baseball. Your owner invests in the ball club. Like you said, you signed your nice extension last year. Many guys have been brought in and they never stop. The Padres are in on every significant player. How fucking cool is that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I haven't been a part of an organization like that. Obviously in Houston, I feel like they did a good job of, bringing a lot of guys over when they were still in the minor leagues and letting them develop together and bringing that, core group of players up. So, as many big names as we had just as many, young guys and rookies that were contributing at the same rate that a lot of those veterans were. But coming to San Diego, this is, especially being from San Diego and growing up, with the type of baseball that I had as a child, we weren't in the playoffs a whole lot. We weren't, in contention many years. So to be here, not only as a kid that grew up and a fan, but as a professional athlete that wants to win a World Series, especially for his hometown, it's kind of doesn't make sense to me. It's never been this way in San Diego. It's not something that anybody expected, but it's what everybody wants to see. Put competitive products on the field, and if you spend that money, you put yourself in a really good position to win multiple championships.
The playoffs last year, Joe, you guys beat the Dodgers for the first time forever as a Padre. You grew up a Padres fan. You know the history of the Padres. That was like, I was there. It was like you guys won the World Series when you beat the Dodgers. Then fast forward to this year, you guys play him the first time. You beat Kershaw, and then they put the crying Clayton Kershaw on the big screen. Thoughts on that? Because I thought that was a little – I mean, listen, someone that's not playing anymore, fine, whatever. But, if I was on the Dodgers, I would say, hold up, boys. You see what they just did to our Hall of Fame guy? Let's go out and whoop their ass in the next 2 days.
Yeah, I'm sure it pissed them off. It felt like a move more for, and I know none of the stuff that they do is really for the players up there on the board. It's to entertain the fan and create some level of excitement and, keep this rivalry going. And I feel like as players, we do have a very different perspective towards the series as the fans do. I think the fans think that we're in there, with voodoo dolls plotting how we're going to knock these guys off. But, it's baseball, man. And as emotional as the things get, you try to be as focused on the task at hand as possible and not let those, outside interferences affect the task at hand. So, it's definitely not something any of us, put in the bucket of things to draw out and put on the scoreboard. But, I understand where the fan base is, has the excitement over, but first game of the year against a team that whooped our ass all year last year. And you talk about the level of excitement when we beat them. Like, I thought fans should be happy. They should be excited. We got our ass kicked by those guys. I think we won 5 games against them all year long. And as players, it felt good. It's like that fucking boogeyman that follows you around everywhere, and you can't beat them. They beat you at home. They beat you on the road. And then to come back and beat them when it matters most, yeah, it felt really fucking good. So we were excited about that. We were happy about that. It was momentum, especially in the playoffs. You guys know how it is in the playoffs. It's all about momentum and energy. And, even if you got to make shit up to build up a moment, that you do what you got to do. So I get what's going on there. I don't like it. I mean, that guy's a Hall of Famer. I've heard nothing but good things about him. I spent some time with him at the All-Star game last year. So I don't think he's ultra sensitive. I don't think he's looking too much into it. But yeah, it's not a very good look on our half.
I thought it was funny as hell.
I thought it was funny.
I
but
thought it
we're
was funny
fans.
as hell because
That's
I ain't
what we
playing
say.
anymore.
It's for us.
Yeah, because we're fans.
Yeah.
We're
funny.
Yeah.
watching the game. I'm like, oh, they just clown showed Clayton Kershaw.
And I think they know that too. I mean, it's like, it is what it is. The fans loved it. It was a moment of laughter and joy for a lot of the San Diego fans. But I don't think he's looking over at the other dugout like we had something to do with that. So.
No, fair. And on the topic of bulletin board material, though, I will say this. You've got some, okay? So last year in the playoffs, this is a safe space. The Mets go after you.
My ear's itching. Hold on.
There you go.
Oh,
Well, it's
Yeah.
sweaty, dude. It's
oh,
hot,
sorry.
It's hot in
I'm
here.
trying to wipe it off. Sorry.
It's sweaty. It's hot in here. But first on the motivational side, because I know you tweeted the other day when the Scherzer stuff went down, you were like, "Oh, can't wait to hear Brian Kenny's thoughts on this," because he called you out without knowing any of his story here. So you said, "Brian Kenny, I can't wait to hear your take." I mean, I'm sure that's still motivating for you when someone calls your ass out and they didn't do their homework on a number of fronts, from not looking at velocity compared to spin rate, first of all, and then second of all, not hearing an answer saying, "Oh, he didn't have an answer for what's on his ear." Yes, sweat if you listen to the post-game interview.
Yeah, if he did his homework, you go back. I don't know what the hell the big deal was about the ears. If you go back and watch, there wasn't a single moment in that game where I go to the ears, to get any kind of grip. I'm not going to the ears and going straight to the ball. So I understand that it looks like that on TV and my ears are shiny, but they came out. I went through the entire process. I don't know what else there is to kind of prove my innocence out there. And, then you take Scherzer on the other hand, who, gets caught in the act. He goes through, and I still think that he got kind of screwed on that situation. He did what they told him to do, and, whatever, he serves a suspension. But it just really irritated me the way that Kenny approached it, and with Lowe, and I can't remember if it was Ron Darling or whoever else was on that segment with him. The two ex-players are coming to my defense and telling them, there's a lot of moments, in baseball where your adrenaline's at a higher level. For me, that was the biggest start of my career right there. And if you look at the numbers compared to everyone else in that game and how relative they were to the increase that everyone experienced, I didn't think my numbers were all that different, from anyone's in the game. And then the simple uneducation on the fact that he's calling my changeup 250 RPMs higher, which is, completely contradicts what you're supposed to get out of a changeup, is less spin for more movement. So none of it made sense. And the fact that he's on MLB Network, the one place that everyone goes as a amateur novice baseball fan to get their education and to learn a little bit about the game, and you have that guy out there just dragging my name through the mud. That really pissed me off.
Do you feel like there's no recourse? Do you feel like you feel like you're on an island? Like you just touched on Scherzer. Like, as a pitcher, do you feel like you're on an island and you could just be like, well, if they deem me to be doing something wrong, I guess this is judge, jury, executioner, all in the same one.
Yeah, there's not really much process you have to defend yourself, and I don't feel a need. I know everyone says you look more guilty the more you try to defend yourself, but it's not the fact that I think people think I was cheating. It's the fact that he's taken away, one of the biggest games of my career in a moment that, the emotional waves that I went through leading up to that, just thinking about all the things that I did to prepare for that moment and be ready for it, and to come through and be the guy to get the job done, and then have it all kind of, question kind of pissed me off. But yeah, it is like, there's not much defense up there, and, you can cry all you want, but, people have their minds made up already. And I feel like it's kind of irrelevant. I know Max has proven himself up to this point. He's going to continue to prove himself. And I feel like that's what I got to do, is just continue to go out there and pitch the way I've been pitching.
But has Brian Kenny apologized? Because you got a big platform. And like I said, the place where everybody goes, MLB tonight. And you can't just sit there and just falsely accuse somebody of doing something. Can't do it.
Yeah.
But has he apologized to you?
No, I haven't heard a word from him, and I haven't run into him, and I'm not gonna hold the guy up in an alleyway, but like I
Right.
want to hear from his mouth why he said that and where he stands on this. Because if he has an apology, I haven't heard it yet. He hasn't reached out to me personally, which is, I'm not asking for this public apology, but I want him to speak to me at least and tell me, why he had those strong opinions and where he stands on it now. Because I feel like his take on Scherzer's thing, and I don't know if you could say that, and I feel like his defense would be that, I'm not going to do that again. I learned my lesson, so I'm not going to do it to the next guy. But it just felt very unfair the way that the two cases were taken.
Joe, speaking of apologies, you guys got a guy on your team, Fernando Tatis, that missed a lot of time for various things. Did he apologize to the team? Has he been received warmly? I know you guys are doing piñata parties and he's dancing. You guys are playing great. So did he apologize to the team? What? Because I've been in that situation where a guy comes back and they kind of give I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
But how's the feeling with him around?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think he did it the right way. Obviously, there's, some doubt about why he waited so long and, how we got here. But the result was going to be the result regardless, whether he told us the day it happened or a couple weeks later. And I know that's not easy, especially talking to your teammates and your coaches and the ones that are counting on you the most, to be there with them in those trenches. So I know it wasn't easy for him, but I think he did it the right way. He called me, myself, Juan, and Manny, and we all sat down early and just kind of talked about what happened. And he told us that he wanted us to hear it first, and wanted our input and our advice, and kind of where we stand on it, if it's appropriate to bring it to the team. And I thought he did a really good job of sitting up, and obviously nervous, man. It's not an easy conversation to have, but he stood up like a man in front of the whole room and just poured it all out there for us. Didn't keep anything. It was very straightforward, and I think it was received well. I think a lot of guys were kind of up in the air on what the actual truth was and what happened, and to get to hear it firsthand from his mouth, that's I think what everyone was really looking for. And after time kind of will heal everything. You've seen the response he's gotten since he's been back so far. But one of the things that we told him is, at some point throughout this process, you're going to have to forgive yourself, for what you did. I feel like he was really holding on to that, that feeling of remorse and feeling like he's having a hard time getting back to being that fun-loving, high-energy guy, because he felt a need that everyone was looking at him. He felt a need to, to show remorse constantly. And I think the hardest part is forgiving yourself and moving on and making sure that everyone knows that you're going to start from now forward and show everyone that, you really are that player that everyone thought you were. And so far it's been great, man. His energy has been awesome. He seems to have moved past it. And, he's been accepted really, really well back in the clubhouse.
I like how he's embracing a little villain action on the road too.
Yeah.
And even Contreras did it last night, and when he returned to Wrigley, because they cheered him and then they started booing him when he was hitting. So Fernando, and that was in Wrigley too, I think, when he started it, they're booing him and he's dancing.
Yeah. I feel like it's all awareness, man. Like, these are all things obviously that he's thought about, before these moments come. You got to be prepared for, the emotions that are going to come with all the, the trash talk and the booze and whatnot. So, I mean, if anybody's, capable of dealing with it, it's that guy. His personality and his energy, he's going to make the most of it.
Joe, simple question here, but who's the leader in the clubhouse in your mind? Like, who brings the group together?
Man, we got a lot of guys, dude. I think Manny's kind of that guy that everyone sees as like the rock, the most consistent one. Bogey brings a completely different aspect. He's a little more soft-spoken, but he's the more one-on-one type guy that, that's been a really good mentor for Kim and for some of our young guys, Jackson Merrill down in spring training. He's been great for guys, and he's a good mix. I mean, the guy speaks 5 languages. He kind of talked to anybody, fit into any little circle there. So he's been really good at tying guys together. Martinez is an absolute character. He's usually running the mic on the bus. So it's kind of like by committee, man. Everyone's bringing a little something to the table. But if there's one guy, I think Manny's the guy that everyone's looking to.
Joe, now you've been with Darvish for a few years. Has he taught you any pitches? Because he throws like 12 pitches. You throw a bunch of pitches.
Yeah.
He's showing you how to throw a slider, cutter, curveball, slow curve, split, change, 2-seamer, 4-seamer, this one, that one. I mean, I caught him 10 years ago, and I was like, sometimes I'd take my glove off and I'd say, let's try number 9. Okay. And he'd go, oh, yeah.
He's I mean, he's one of the most interesting guys I've ever been around. when it comes to pitch design and just the thirst for information on the game. He's taught me more about my own pitches and how to make little adjustments more so than I've adopted his pitches. But everything about him, man. Like when I first met him, he had these little they were like rubber stoppers, almost like toe spreaders would be on a foot, and they would go just between these outside two knuckles, so that his hand almost had like this really square, boxy shape, and not like a normal rounded hand. It was like real, like this fascial tension and stuff. And he talked about that being a main focus of like the connection in his arm from his lat all the way to his fingertips. So the way that he physically throws a baseball is a lot different than most people. But his ability to watch a guy pitch, look at the metric numbers, and then go out and recreate that pitch in a day's work is like nothing I've ever seen, man. He'll create pitches for certain types of lineups that are coming up. If there's a weapon that he doesn't have that he feels will play well against the team we're about to face, he'll create a pitch and use it, 15, 20 times in his next start. It's things that you don't see out of anybody. So, you try to keep up with him, but, he's just one of a kind.
Now, like you're talking about a lot of hard work. Hard work happens in the weight room. What the heck
Right.
happened with the kettlebell, dude?
It's been a bad year for the feet for me, dude. Damn. Yeah, I mean, dude, I've been training barefoot for probably 7 or 8 years now. I've had a ton of foot issues in the past with neuromas and ankle issues. My feet are just jacked up. So the more I get out of shoes, the better my feet stay throughout the year. And it was as simple as switching hands with the kettlebell. Just weight slipped out of my finger, and it got my toe by a fucking cunt hair. I mean, that big, and it just clipped the tip of the toe and smashed it, popped the nail out the back. I did the hyperbarics for about 9-10 days, and I was back in a shoe in a week and a half. So the fracture, I guess, wasn't that bad. It was in a good spot, but yeah, just shitty timing.
Oh,
Damn. So you're working out barefoot.
And I don't know that a shoe would have helped it, dude. I mean, it's a 40-pound weight to the toe, so I think it was going either way. But yeah, it didn't help that the shoe was off.
Dude, that's the SoCal lifestyle, bro.
I was gonna say,
I'm
down
sure
here,
Get with
Jones
it,
is working
man.
out barefoot all the time.
in
Always
Orlando,
did.
there's people working out in their sandals all the time down here at the gym.
That's how we roll in Florida.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
Joe, last one from me. I just wanted to ask about your thoughts on the Pirates playing pretty good ball right now. I know you were a part of that mix for a while, but also happy to not only be in San Diego for being around your hometown, but also you changed as a pitcher. And I know you've talked about this before, but when you reflect on all the changes that you made, and there's a number of ways that it's documented, what are your thoughts on kind of where you're at now?
Yeah, the Pirates have looked really good, man. I know their schedule's toughened up a little bit over the last week or so. They've, had a little rough stretch, but I give a lot of credit to Derek Shelton and his staff over there. I mean, those guys were incredible. I wish I could have played there longer and had a chance to win a little bit more when I was there, because I loved him and Don Kelly. Those are two of the best guys I've ever played for. But they got a fun team. They got some young talent. And I think adding a few of those veterans in there, which is kind of the piece they've been missing. They had a bunch of young talent, even from the years that I was there in 18, 19, 20. And it seemed like over the years, those guys kept getting shipped out, and they weren't really bringing many of those veteran guys in that have been around the game for a while that, could just kind of school these young guys on how things are supposed to go, how to run a clubhouse, how to run a bus, like the little things that people don't think about. They matter a lot, when you have good energy and good chemistry with a team, and it's from doing team dinners and team events and, having a good bus and a good card game on the plane, like all those little things that, that the veteran guys are the best at. I think that adds a lot of value. So bringing in guys like Kutch and Santana and Rich Hill, good players, but also got some experience and time in the game to kind of show some of those young guys. So I think that's been a good adjustment for them. And myself, I really just think it's tapping into the mental game. I've obviously changed my arsenal a little bit, throwing the breaking balls a little bit more. But I feel like my mind is in a much stronger place, whereas before I still had that rookie intimidation kind of feeling when I would go out and take starts. It wasn't this calm aggression. It was like just this mayhem, like out of control blackout rage when I would pitch, and it would pay off really well for me sometimes, and sometimes it would overwhelm me and I'd get my shit kicked in and be out in the third inning. So I think just really learning how to manage myself, understanding my emotions a little bit, kind of, pulling the right strings throughout the course of the game to keep myself where I need to be is has allowed me to, have a little bit more success. And then, yeah, of course, the fact that I got some pretty good breaking balls.
Last one before we let you go. The energy in the Padres. I'm a big Padres fan. I watch as many games as possible. The energy has changed in the last 2 weeks since Fernando came back. Do you think his energy is just jolted the team to play really good baseball the last 2 weeks? Not saying that you didn't play the first three weeks played fine, but the last 2 weeks have played really, really good. Do you think his energy overall, and obviously the pitching staff is good, the bullpen has been dominant. You think all that has just helped out, and how's the Padres going forward?
Yeah, dude, I think having him back in there helped a lot. In a lot of different ways. Obviously, what he does on the field speaks for itself. His ability to run the bases. He's a threat, wherever he's at on the field, whether it's offense, defensive, base paths. There's like a one-of-a-kind type player, but the confidence that it gives everybody else, when he's in the lineup every night or when he's out in right field, it's, as a pitcher, you got all the confidence in the world attacking the zone and not afraid to give up the solo homer here or there because of the type of lineup we have with Toddy leading it off. He swung the bat pretty well since he's come back, which has been a nice reintroduction. But, you compare it to, these playoff basketball games, like all you hear is the fact Embiid's out or someone's down and they don't have their star player. It's like the team's got a little bit less or a little bit more responsibilities, to kind of pick up the slack where a guy like that's not in the game. So I think when he's in the game, he makes everyone else around him better. The stadium's, got a lot more energy when he's on the field. I mean, you guys see how these fans react when he comes out on the field, even just for, warm-up stretches. So, he's a big part of the ball club, on the field and just, emotionally for the overall energy of the group.
Joe, this was awesome, man. Appreciate the time, and we wanted to have you on and would love to do it again. So you're an important voice in the game. So it's important to have you on, especially on a platform like this with your fellow former players and all that, besides me as a joke. But
I love what you guys are doing, man. You guys got a good platform to get some real stories and real truth out there. So appreciate what you guys are doing.
Hey, just shout out your boy for the shirt so we can give him some love too.
This is my boy Isad Williams from the band Pepper. I got the truth one on sideways. This is their little Skullcanuts. Bang. But partnered up with Volcom. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for the gifts.
Yeah, of course. And we'll give him a pop on socials as well. Thanks, Joe.
Awesome.
Good luck.
All right,
rest
guys.
of the way here. We'll talk to you down the road, okay?
See you.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
Joe Musgrove with us on FT Live. Awesome.
Great.
That's great.
Honest. You know what I love? I love when guys come on, they're just honest. He's like, yeah, fucking sucked.
Yeah, just talk.
Like, that's how people
That's
talk.
good
That's
shit.
real talk. It's not, oh, well, that was just terrible. No, baseball players don't talk like that.
Also, have you watched 99% of, say, post-game interviews? How did you feel? Oh, it felt good, and we got the win. Come on. Like, we got to do better than that as a sport. Mm-hmm. We have personalities. That's what we're here for. That's all.
And it would let us in on like what actually happens in the game. Yeah, I felt good. Like you heard him talking about like breaking down how his stuff played and how you changes, his pitch shapes to be able to attack a certain batter or two in a lineup. Like that's the kind of stuff that if you just get the whole, I pitched well, I would have loved to have gone deeper, and it's a great game. We really came back and I had fun.
Like 4.5 inches?
I'm awake. No, sorry, you didn't see me, but I was snoozing.
He was
when
sleeping at your answers.
Your textbook answer.
Yeah.
So we're about to get into the Red Sox, by the way. Kratzy's got to jump. So Kratz hats, and then say later, and then I'll say your pick too. So text me info on your pick, and I'll tell everyone later when we do our BetMGM locks. But what do you got on your head?
Scranton Rail Riders. I think this is the BP hat that we rocked. It's like a white and a navy. The Rail Riders riding the rail. They used to be let's see, when AJ, you never played AAA in the International League. It was the Scranton. It used to be the Phillies. I'm forgetting. It doesn't matter. But it's the Yankees AAA. They got a bunch of awesome stuff going up there at Montage Mountain at the stadium. So,
all right. Well, good luck in your game. Yeah, Scranton Rail Riders. Yeah. You know what they should be called? The Scranton, what's the company? Dunder Mifflin's. Paper people. Papers. They should
The
be
Electric
Scranton-
City.
Yeah.
You know the Electric City? It's
No.
like you haven't watched The Office?
No.
Oh, okay. We'll talk.
Okay. No, I missed that. Sorry.
All good. Kratzy, hey, good stuff, man. Good luck in your game. We'll see you tomorrow.
See y'all.
Have a good one.
All right. Let's get ready to bring in our next guest. At Pete Abe has been covering the Red Sox since 2010 for the Boston Globe. MLB beat writer all the way back to 2002. He's been all over the place. You've seen him on Nesson. He's covered some hoops and Mets and Yanks and all that. And let's dive into some good Red Sox talk right now because they're playing pretty good ball too.
Really good.
Pete Abraham joining us right now. Pete Abe, how you doing? Thanks for the time.
Hey guys, how are you?
Wait, Peter, is it Peter? Peter?
Pete's fine.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. He was like, Peter. I was like, it's literally Pete Abe on his Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm
but
pretty
if you-
sure Pete's
If you
good.
Google him, it comes up Peter Abraham at the Boston Globe. So which one is it? I mean,
That's the
legitimate.
byline. They make me do that for the byline.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, that's like if AJ is trying to debate you at some point and is like, Peter, come on, if he gets serious.
Be better than that, Peter.
All right, if it's serious, I'll know when it's serious. That's good.
Exactly. All right. So let's start. First off, big picture. You think I'm going to go this way? Like, how are the Red Sox? When are the Red Sox trading for or signing Shohei Ohtani?
Boy, for the sake of the Boston Globe circulation, hopefully quickly as possible. That would be the greatest thing ever. It's funny. A lot of Red Sox fans think because they went and signed Yoshida, that clearly this means they're going to go after Ohtani, which is not the case. But when you look at it, they would have the money. That right now they're running a pretty low payroll compared to normal. They probably could afford him if they wanted to.
I'll keep it Japanese with my guy Yoshida. How's it been covering him? I mean, I've got 2 years with him in Japan. He didn't get up to the hottest start. Obviously, he was the best hitter in Japan for the last 5 years. Didn't get off to the hottest start. Just one player of the week. And he's been playing terrific. I sent him a video last week through Middlebrooks and his interpreter. And I'm not saying that I had anything to do with it, but the guy obviously makes adjustments. And you get the first-hand look at him. How's he been in the first 6 weeks?
Yeah, he was making a lot of contact early, but he wasn't getting rewarded for it. And lately, the contact's been a lot better. They kind of opened up his stance a little bit about 2 weeks ago. I don't know that directly led to the 16-game hitting streak, but it certainly helped. And I think that's allowed him to hit the ball with a little more power. We're seeing a lot more doubles now than we were in the beginning of the year. He's got a great ability to get the bat on the ball. That was always the case, even going back to spring training. But now he's starting to get something out of it, and he's getting more comfortable, I think, in the hitters' meetings and speaking up and listening to the guys. Justin Turner's done a good job of kind of making that a daily thing where they talk about what they're trying to do against the pitcher that night. So it seems to me like he's fitting in pretty well. The fact that one of the assistant hitting coaches, Louis Rodriguez, played in Japan for a bit, I think that's helped him too. He speaks a little bit of Japanese. So I think for any guy who's coming over from Japan, there's a big, a lot of changes for that player. But now we're starting to see him just kind of focusing on the baseball, and he's been getting on base 2-3 times a game the last week or so.
Peter, it's time to get serious.
Okay.
Speaking of ex-teammates, Jonesy played with Yoshida. I played with Chris Sale. I was there when he first came up. His last start was back to the old Chris Sale. What did he do different, and what does it look like going forward?
He hasn't pitched. He didn't pitch very much for 3 years. So this was going to be a process, I think. The idea that he was going to come out of the gates looking like old Chris Sale, even he said in spring training, that was pretty unrealistic. I think what we're seeing more than anything else is his arm strength is getting back to what it was. For the first few starts, it was 94, 95. The other day, it was 98, 99. And we hadn't seen that all season. So when he's able to do that with his fastball, as you know, AJ, that makes the slider so much better. And I think that part of it has given him a lot more confidence because he said the other day in Philadelphia, he wasn't sure how high his velocity would be able to get after all of the injuries and everything that happened to him. So the fact that the other day, there were, I think, 4 in a row that were 98.5 on a strikeout. And I think that really excited him, the fact that he could dial it up when he needed to against a good team in the Phillies, come away with a victory. He had one rocky inning. He was able to kind of pull that back together and get through the inning and leave 2 guys stranded. Turn it over to the bullpen from there. The next step, I think, for him, and he talked about this the other day, is getting beyond 5 innings, which I think, like the arm strength, that's going to be the similar kind of thing. He's going to have to build up the endurance that he didn't have for the last couple of years. But if he was able to do it with the velocity, I think we're going to be able to see him get to a point where he's going in the 6th inning and probably beyond on occasion too.
Didn't he come off the field and was like hugging everybody when he saw the velocity? Sale came off and was like, "I'm so happy I threw it that hard."
Yeah.
He hugged the catcher, maybe the pitching coach.
Yeah, he was very excited about that. We just hadn't seen it, even in spring training. We hadn't seen it all year. And now, not that you can't succeed if you're throwing 95, 96, but if you're Chris Sale and you've been throwing, close to 100 for all your career, I'm sure that was a little unsettling that he wasn't able to do that. But now that he has, it was funny. Even in some of the games that he pitched well, he was very critical of himself afterward about things that he wasn't doing. The other day in Philadelphia, I think, was the first time all year where we saw him very pleased about everything. Even though he gave up 3 runs, he was very pleased because I think he saw this is now the start of him going up with what he was able to do the other day.
Very simply, are the Red Sox a playoff team?
So I was looking at it just now. They're 3rd in the American League in runs scored and 3rd from the bottom in the American League in runs allowed. So I don't know how that would work for a playoff team. I mean, you can't win. You're not going to win every night, 8-7. That's just not a good way to try to play all year. They're also in a division that I think it's fair to say you're going to get 3 playoff teams out of the American League East. So that's going to be a hard one too. Now, a lot of Red Sox fans are saying, well, this is good for us this year with the new schedule. They don't play the Yankees and the Rays as often, but the Rays and the Yankees don't play each other as often either. So when you look at the AL East teams against other teams this year, they've been, knocking everybody around. So it's going to be a fight to try. They could have a good record and still not get in the playoffs because of how deep the division is. That's going to be the biggest problem.
I want to ask, what did Duran eat this offseason?
You know what he ate? I tell you what,
big as
it was
hell.
it was humble pie. That's what he ate because he was terrible last year. I mean, he really was. He was awful. He had 4 or 5 occasions when he lost fly balls. There was a grand slam that he could have caught that he it just fell in and it went for a inside the park grand slam. There were a lot of embarrassing things that happened to him, and I think that led to his being more open to talk to the coaches and talk to the other players about what do I need to do here? How do I adjust? And I think the other thing that was good for him, and this is kind of weird, he played for Team Mexico in the WBC. His father is from Mexico. He only had 5 at-bats in games, but being around those players, I think, gave him a lot of confidence, the fact that he was just on the team. And when he came back to spring training, he had, I just think, a little more, pride in what he was doing and the idea that he knew he could do something, be more than just a backup player or be a AAA player. And now that he wasn't on the major league roster until Adam Duvall got hurt, but when he got called up, he got a couple hits that night and he hasn't stopped hitting since. And I think the fact that he's having success offensively, and maybe, I don't know if this makes sense to you, AJ, but he's become a better outfielder. I think that confidence is carried into the outfield as well.
I never played outfield. Hey, I never played outfield, Peter. So we have 2 AJs on this show. You have to clarify which one. I appreciate it though.
AJ,
No, but he looks good. He looks good. Like I mean, again, I watch a lot of baseball, and last year he was overmatched in a lot of different things. His at bats look terrific. Like he looks like he knows what he's doing. Again, his physical appearance is shown. He hasn't lost a step. He's playing great defense. He's allowed them to have Kike Hernandez be Kike Hernandez, opposed to forcing Kike Hernandez to play center field every day. When he can do it, but he's not a center fielder. He's a shortstop, and then he's super utility, really. I mean, the guy, you just need the guy's bat and put him anywhere. So I'm happy to see that, like you said, the humble pie, and again, the game will humble the hell out of all of us. So I'm glad that he had that, and I'm glad he had that great experience because WBC was like that for me.
Yeah, the fact that he's able to play center field has bailed them out because with all the injuries that they've had, they really need Kike to play shortstop. If Durant wasn't playing well in center field, they'd really be in trouble.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, I love when players, especially veterans, still have a chip on their shoulder. I read a little bit. I've read actually a lot about Kenley Jansen, who's pitching lights out, and he was called out. They're like, oh, he's going to get crushed by the pitch clock. He's not going to be able to adjust, as if like he was going to get an automatic ball on him each at bat, and also as if he's not in good enough shape or whatever people thought, right? I agree. Hey, there were some dudes that were slow and they have to adjust, but these guys are professional athletes. So, and he actually used to be a position player, but he was smart and got out of catching and went to closing eventually. So how has he looked? And have you had conversations with him about this?
Yeah, the first day of spring training, he was one of the early guys to spring training. He got there before they had to report. And the Red Sox must have purchased, I don't know how many pitch clocks. It seemed like there were 40 of them around the complex. And every single time he pitched, even when he just went out to throw bullpens, they had a pitch clock on him. And the first couple of days, they didn't say, hey, make sure you adhere to the pitch clock. They just wanted him to see it. And then after a while, they said, okay, now throw your bullpens being cognizant of the pitch clock. And it was just, I don't think he's changed his delivery. I think it's just a matter of not pausing so much in the beginning before he got into his delivery. And he was very much aware that everybody said Kenley's going to be one of the guys who's going to be most affected by this. And I think he wanted to prove everybody wrong that wouldn't be the case, that he could make the adjustment. And there's been a couple of Red Sox pitchers who have had pitch clock violations, and he's not one of them. He's easily handled the pitch clock, and he's been as good as he's been. I mean, he's been lights out the entire season. 1 save away now from 400. He's been really the bedrock of that bullpen. They haven't really had a full-time closer for a couple of years, and him being in the 9th inning, that's helped Alex Cora immensely because now you can line up everybody else behind Kenley. And there were a couple of days when he was out, his back was sore, and you could see what a difference it made in the bullpen that they didn't necessarily know what everybody's role was that night. When Kenley came back, everything falls into place.
Pete, have the Fenway faithful come back to, because at the beginning of the year, remember, there was very few people in the stands. And if they have come back, how good is Rafi Devers?
Yeah, it's funny with the crowd that they sell out opening day, obviously, but they were the week after that. There was some small crowds for Fenway Park. They were announcing what tickets sold were that were over 20,000, but there might have been 13 or 14,000 people in the park. Now that it's cold weather, all of that kind of stuff. They weren't playing maybe marquee teams. Now after this win streak, some of which come on the road, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when we get back home later on this week. They got playing this weekend against the Cardinals. That should be a big crowd. But I think a lot of people were skeptical about this team coming into the season, and why not? I mean, Xander Bogaerts leaves and Christian Vasquez leaves. They didn't really bring in, other than Kenley, like there wasn't anybody where you said, well, this is a guy who's going to make a tremendous difference. But they've gotten off to a good start. They've shown that they can compete with the teams in the division. So I think these next few weeks will be interesting in terms of the crowd. And then just, the rest of it, I mean, the Red Sox fans are going to be there. I think they just, they've had some questions about how Chaim Bloom's put the team together. But so far, the team he's put together has been very competitive.
And what about Rafi Devers? Is he that
it's
good?
funny,
Obviously, they signed him for $300 million, and they let Bogarts walk, and they made all these other moves. And maybe, as you said, they're going to bring in Shohei. Is Devers obviously Devers is the guy they want to build the team around? Is he that type of guy?
Yeah, well, it's funny because he wasn't before because they had Xander, they had Christian Vasquez, they had other guys who were sort of the clubhouse leaders. And I think in talking to Alex Cora, Rafi has come to realize that, well, two things. He's the most tenured Red Sox player now. He's the guy who's been around the longest in terms of being on the Sox. And that contract, whether you like it or not, puts you in a different position. You have to be more of a leader when you have that kind of contract because you're the guy who's going to be here. You're the guy they've chosen to build the team around. And I think he understands that. He's making himself available after games, even when they lose. Even if he has nothing to do with why they might have lost, he makes himself available to kind of speak on behalf of the team. He's a guy who's taken other players under his wing and tried, whether it's getting tickets for some of the AAA players to go to a Celtics playoff game, taking Brian Bayo out shopping when he got called up to the big leagues to buy some clothes, just kind of under the radar stuff that, shows you that he's cognizant of who he is on the team. And beyond that, he's been terrific at the plate. I think he's got the most RBIs in the big leagues as of yesterday and second most home runs. He hasn't hit for average yet, but that's come up in the last 2 weeks. He's played well at third base. I think he's answered the questions about whether he's a long-term third baseman. So a lot of things that he's doing, I think, show that he understands, what the Red Sox showed in him. And he has to return that with not just how he plays, but kind of how he is a factor in leading the team.
I love him as a person too. I've known him for a long time. Lovable guy. He can be shy at times, but I mean, also most of the time, I mean, he's been the youngest guy everywhere too, and now he gets to step up in that role, which I think is cool.
Yeah, it's hard to go from being the little brother to the big brother overnight, but that's kind of what he was, what he needed to do.
Pete, awesome. Really appreciate having you on. This was great stuff. And you're hopping to the ballpark now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta, and I know it's like across a bunch of highways from where the hotel is, but I have no idea how to get there. I can see it, but I don't know how to get there. I got to figure that out.
Good luck.
You go underneath.
Okay.
You're supposed to go underneath, unless you.
That's what there's some way to do it, right? I mean, it must be.
Yeah, you just go to the bottom and just walk underneath.
No, you play Frogger. You play Frogger, Pete.
No, don't tell him that.
Play
Don't
Frogger.
It's only a highway.
Watch out for the semi backwards. Jump over on the turtle.
AJ will send his car service. Pete, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time, man. Have fun at the game tonight.
All right, thanks, fellas. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And we'll plug the Twitter and everything else at Pete Abe. Very easy. Simple to find him on Twitter there. And check out his work with the Boston Globe. No, Peter Abe's taken and Pete Abe shorter. So you always want shorter.
No.
Peter.
For Twitter.
Peter.
That was good stuff.
Interesting about the Red Sox. It's always because, listen, I don't think anybody here, maybe Adam different, but you didn't think the Red Sox were going to be any good.
No.
I didn't think the Red Sox were going to be any good.
No.
Adam didn't think and now they're there.
I like it.
They're there and they're fighting for a possible playoffs. There's a long way to go.
I just didn't think the pitching was going to be sustainable, and I still don't think that. The offense is better than I thought.
Though.
He did. He said you can't be ranked here and then here with pitching. Run prevention's a pretty big deal.
Yes.
So that's my one thing.
Championships.
I also think pitching wears down. That's what often happens too. It's pitching and pitching depth that wears down as the season goes on, based on injury, based on usage, right? Keep hitting up your bullpen. Eventually they start to crack more. So that's my thing. Yeah, they're not going to be bad. I don't think they're a playoff team.
Okay, fair.
So,
but it's good for baseball when they are good.
Hell yeah,
When the Red Sox are good. When the Red Sox Yankees they're both good. That rivalry means something. When one team is good, one team is bad, the rivalry stinks. But when they're both good, it's just good. Everybody in the East they're all above 500 right now. That's good.
Well, on that topic, we're going to do some updated futures odds from BetMGM. So let's dive into some ball clubs here. Let's start with the American League. The favorite still, the Houston Astros, even though they've just been playing okay. And the highest ticket right now is Cleveland. The highest handle, so most dough, is put towards the Yanks. That's because the Yanks have fallen. So people are looking at the futures odds for the Yanks to take the pennant, and it's shinier than it was at the start of the season. I'm guessing.
The Yankees are the most popular team, so everybody bets on the Yankees.
Sure, there's a little bit of both. Yeah. And I do think they're going to bounce back pretty
Did you know Aaron
nicely.
Judge is back?
He's back.
No, but I did know that you went on the Phantom IL twice. Rewind on this episode for more. And the biggest liability is Baltimore. How are your boys looking right now, Jonesy? Same thing for me. That's my only thing with Baltimore for bettors that are like, oh wow, I could get a good play on Baltimore. I'm just worried about the pitching. They can swing the bats too. They got a little Red Sox in them.
They can swing the bats. They can run the bases. They can play defense. Obviously, starting pitching is always the biggest question for anybody. But they're getting John Means back about July. I'm not sure the timetable. I'm not in the clubhouse. But they're getting him back soon, and I think that's going to be a big, big bolster. Again, he's coming back from Tommy John. It seems like he's taking a little longer time, which hopefully is better. And it could feel like a trade. But I always said that they need to go get somebody. They have the pieces, the prospects. Hopefully they can go get somebody strong. My biggest one has always been Corbin Burns and Woodruff. But if they can go pull off a Cease or something like that, who has, not just this year, but next year also, to where you're just not giving up a lot for a rental, you're giving up a lot for a guy that can help you win this year and next year. Kind of like what the Padres did for Soto. They got him for more than 1 year, and they gave up a haul. So hopefully Baltimore can make a move, and they're in it at the trade deadline, and make a push in the second half, because only way speed is hampered is by hamstrings that AJ had when he went on the Phantom. So it's as
Like
long
I
as
said,
they
I
stay
didn't run
healthy,
fast
they're
enough to pull a hamstring. My thing is, can we put that graphic back up, Gab or Claudio?
Yeah.
Because Houston's still the favorite. I can't make them the favorite till Jose Abreu hits a home run. Okay, let's just start with that. Frazier's home run champion or mid-May, and he hasn't hit a home run yet. So I can't take this graphic serious because I know Houston's been good for so long, but
Why do you need him to hit a home run?
just because they're under 500. And I know the Nationals, give me the Nationals, 19-31, won the World Series, but they just lost Garcia. Their offense has been really Alvarez and Tucker, and that's really been it.
Altuve's coming back soon.
They need him more. Apparently, they need him way more than anyone thought.
Peña's
Pena
not
hasn't
hitting.
been great. Bregman's been okay. But other than Tucker, you look at their lineup, you're like, who?
Hensley's hitting.
Who? Yeah, but who? I'm serious. But Jose Abreu went there on a big deal, and you're thinking this dude in Houston with the Crawford boxes can hit a bunch of home runs. And the thing about Baltimore, Jonesy, I did their game on Saturday. The thing about them, their starters don't go deep enough in games. And when we talked to Brandon Hyde about this, he said, "Man, I'd love for my starters to go deeper." Their bullpen's going to get worn out, as Scott just talked about with the Red Sox. You can only have so many bullets in a bullpen until there's games where you say, man, I can't throw 3 or 4 guys. And that's happened to Baltimore a couple times this year where people aren't available. Bautista's not available. Whoever else Brandon Hyde wants to use because they've thrown 2 days in a row. They've thrown too many pitches. So they need to go out, like you said, get a starter. And for God's sakes, Baltimore, Angelo's family, spend some of that money. Go out and make a splash this offseason. Sign somebody, trade for somebody, and sign them to an extension. Because the Baltimore fans are just thirsty for them to be good.
And this is their time. This is their time, you know? By the way, the Orioles, if you want to know on the American League pennant side, they're plus 2,500 to take the American League. That's why there's high liability there. And the Yankees, by the way, have fallen to plus 650 for the AL pennant. So, no, you're right. I mean, you're not putting down on Houston right now. You shouldn't be. No, I'm not. Even though they go to the World Series, it feels like every year. Yes. Win or lose. Well, let's see the National League side, shall we? You got the Atlanta Braves at plus 230 at the moment for the National League. I know we went to the National League, but the Rays, what are the Rays? For what? For pennant? Plus 325. So they're the same as the Astros. Yeah, they're actually tied. They're 29-7, aren't they? Yeah, they're matched with the Astros. They just, Actually, Rays, I apologize. Ace, we should have put you on the board. They have a legit ace. Yes, true. And they have Glasnow coming. True. Mm-hmm. But Atlanta had 7-0. Yeah. I mean, he's going to start the All-Star game again, probably. Also, when's the last time a team won back-to-back World Series? Yankees. 90s. 2000. It's a long time. The back end of the 98, 99, 2000. So, okay, sorry. Braves League now. Braves are the favorite. They should you take this because you were just in Atlanta. I just did Atlanta and Orioles, and their lineup, so good. 1 through 9. They have Michael Harris hitting 8th in this lineup. RC is hitting 9th. Their shortstop was Vaughn Grissom when I was there because RC just came off the IL. Sean Murphy's you can make an argument Sean Murphy's the best catcher in baseball right now. He's the MVP in the National League. Or Acuna. Him and Acuna are probably 1-2 MVP. Acuna is the most exciting player right now, right? Mm-hmm. Murphy's probably, you can make this argument, the best catcher, if not the best player right now in the National League. He is by WAR. Then you go, Albies is great. Riley hasn't really got it going. They're still good. Olsen's been great. Their pitcher, Fried, Strider, Morton's been great. Mm-hmm. They're back into their bullpen. They just got Iglesias back. Now you slide, like Pete Abraham just said, you put Kenley Jansen in 9th. It slides everyone back. Well, guess what? They got Iglesias back. Minter, those guys back up an inning. It makes their bullpen good. This is the deepest team in the National League. They got this one right for me. Yeah, they're good all throughout the board. They're the best team in the National League right now. Like not just on paper. Like when you play them, they play a complete game. So they catch the ball, they hit the ball. They run the bases well. Again, Acuna, with him at the catalyst, at leadoff, they're a scary team when he's healthy and he's swinging it because he literally does everything. He gets on with 2 picks and 4.5 inches. He plays big. That's a good line right there. I like everything about that line. Yeah, Atlanta looks like the best team in the sport right now, in my mind. So, and that is why there's line movement. They are the World Series favorites. So, lastly, ATL moving from plus 800 to plus 500. Take us to the next one. That's NL pennant, but take us to the World Series odds. Highest ticket and Pittsburgh handle for everybody. Everybody that bet on Pittsburgh for National League. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry. Thank you. And then liability-wise, Boston. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, because at the start of the year, they were huge non-favorites to win the World Series. Listen. Boston at the current moment to win the World Series plus 6,600, which is where they should be. Yeah, they're not winning the World Series. Okay. Remember? Red Sox, Pirates. Red Sox, Pirates. I'll shave my head. Bye-bye hair. Oh, gosh. Oh, you know what? Gosh darn it. Let's go Pirates. No chance. No chance. I know, but the man can dream. Yeah. Well, that's why I make bets that I can win. That's my lock of the season. And I'm going to go 1-0. Were you on that show? No, I don't think so. Oh, so I don't know how we got into shit. We were doing this. we were doing this. AJ has a bet that either Red Sox or White Sox, whoever wins, has to dye their hair the color of the team or whatever. So AJ is going to have red hair at the end of the year because the White Sox stink. And for me, somehow it came up because these guys were getting all hot about the Pirates and maybe a little bit about the Red Sox. And I was like, I wasn't knocking the Red Sox as much as I was like, Pirates, Red Sox World Series, because they're trying to get me on certain bets to shave my head. I was like, that one, that's the one. I'll shave my head on Pirates, Red Sox World Series, and I will keep my hair and be happy.
Not many people watching that. It won't be big shares. So enough for the players.
That World Series?
Yeah, well, are you kidding me? Pittsburgh will be stoked, and Boston will be like, we can win this one.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the shares. Like people around the country can be like, yeah, well, my team's not in. I'm going on vacation. No one's watching that.
Everybody
Red Sox
watches
Nation.
Red Sox. It don't matter.
But you're only getting the Red Sox, the Pirates, and just their area.
Red Sox,
Baltimore
because
ain't
all the
watching
Yankee fans watch.
Yeah,
If you get the
because
Red Sox, all the Yankee fans watch.
Well, my one thing with
can see 'em
Pittsburgh
move.
is when you have the one time where you can do okay is when you have a team that hasn't done shit for a long time.
Yeah.
That helps because if you get fatigue, like Astros fatigue, right? I mean, those fans are like, oh, they're on TV for the World Series. Yeah, they're always on TV for the World Series. That changes things a little bit, but I'm with you. So anyway, let's get to some topics that we didn't get to at the top. So first off, this one, as we have now become the go-to source for Real Talk Oakland A's news, the A's are already looking into a new site. What? They're already out of Vegas? Wait. Nevada Independent with this news. The A's are revisiting other potential Vegas baseball stadium sites just weeks after signing a, quote, binding agreement on a 49-acre site west of the Strip as the legislative process lags. This sounds really familiar. This sounds kind of like the Oakland A's, doesn't it?
It kind of sounds like they don't know what the hell's happening. It sounds like they're trying to get two cities, Oakland, Vegas, to fight over them. And right now, both cities are like, we don't really care. Good luck. Like they've kind of monumentally screwed this up. Because you had Oakland, and Oakland at one time was like, man, we'll do anything. We'll help you build a stadium. The owner's like, only if you pay for it. And they're like, okay, we'll move to Vegas. And Vegas is like, we don't really want you guys, so try again. And now either one of them wants them, and the A's are going to be in the Coliseum until we all pass away.
You know what this reminds me of? Like, so it's that friend that keeps having the breakups, and they're going to you like, man, they fucked up, whatever. And they just keep having the breaks up. And eventually you're like, you know what, John Fisher, I think it's you.
Maybe. It's always you.
I think it's you at this point, okay? Because now Vegas is having problems with you. I think it's you. Because Vegas wants a ball club. So are you asking for too much tax money? Can you not afford the stadium?
But if John Fisher and Jones, you'll back me up, I think, on this. If Vegas wants the A's, and the Oakland A's, John Fisher goes, hey, guys, I want to build a $1.2 billion stadium, and I'll supply $1 billion of the 1.2. The Vegas is going to go, we only have to give $200 million and get this team here. Okay, but if he goes to and says swap it,
the money's $500 though in tax abatements. That was the last number that I read about.
So Vegas will have to pay $500 million.
Well, tax abatements, whatever bullshit.
Yeah,
that
they'll
means.
add a sales tax to something or whatever. Yeah.
So it's basically like the city covering some of it.
You know
I
what,
guess?
Oakland? You know where's a great place to play? It could be the Orlando A's.
No,
Orlando.
we talked about that when you weren't on purpose, just so we wouldn't get biased. Let's just show the Mark Carrig tweet as well, because he's been like the front man because he's from the area. Writes unfiltered for The Athletic. He said, I don't want to rush to judgment here, but it sure seems possible that A's ownership's totally incompetent and may very well screw the pooch, or they're playing 4D chess and everyone else is too dumb to follow along. I'd bet on the former. I mean, it's going to get resolved. They're always going to have a home to play in, but there is a little extra drama now because in my mind, of course, none of us are getting the real total story yet. I'm wondering if Vegas is like, wait, so Oakland's totally out now, and you were using them as leverage to get more money from us as a community. Wait, now we don't have to give you as much. That could be part of it. Just saying. It's my guess.
They all can afford it. That's the thing. Is just if you can afford it. Vegas can afford anything, and it'd be tough though, a hard sell. I think about it because every night I get going to the hockey game in Vegas is cool because it's indoors, it's cool weather, it's a great atmosphere, it's fun, it's a bunch of different fans. Vegas for a baseball game, like I don't know, it sounds great. It's gonna be hot. I know they're gonna do a retractable
Roof. They
roof.
got to do a roof, right? They got to
Yeah,
do
they
a
got
roof.
to. They got
We
to.
got a roof.
But it's like I don't know because the attraction of the Golden Knights to hockey is they're at the I believe MGM or T-Mobile Center. They're right in the mix on the Strip. This stadium is going to be outside of the Strip. If I'm
No,
correct.
it's not that. No, it's right there. It's in on
So they're gonna
Tropicana, isn't it? It's like right there. I think
right
it's
It
past
right.
doesn't
the end of the
matter.
Strip
That
in
site's
Tropicana.
out potentially.
Well, no, I'm saying, but the original
types out.
site. Sorry.
Well,
The
that's by the
original
airport
site was
then.
right there. I thought just south of the Strip, like just south of like the
That's
south end where the sign is. I thought it
Tropicana.
was right there.
Okay, well
Yeah.
then, the people coming from the airport, do they want to go there? Do they want to Do you want to
My
go to a baseball game going to Vegas?
No, my thinking though is that Vegas, as Scott kind of said, and we discussed this a little bit, they don't want the A's. They want an expansion team. They can name it whatever the hell they want. They can name it the Las Vegas Showgirls or whatever they want to call it,
Ooh.
right? And make their own, like they did with the Knights, because teams are always like, oh, we're going to move there. Well, guess what they did? They said, here's your own franchise, Vegas. And if you go to a Knights game, and I think Adam's been to one. I don't know if you've been to. I've been to
I've been
a
to
Knights
one.
game. It says Vegas born, Vegas raised, the Vegas thing, right? That's because it's their own team. So they want their own team like they had with the Knights, and let's start it from scratch and build it as, again, Vegas born, Vegas raised. It's our own team. Whereas if the A's come in, kind of like the Raiders, it's the Raiders, it's the NFL. I get it. But a lot of the fans for the Raiders are still from Oakland and still from even LA. They still come
LA,
in, right? So
California
they
for
still
sure.
come in to watch the Raiders in Vegas because it's Vegas. Now, are people going to fly from Oakland to watch the A's when they can go across the bridge and watch the Giants in a super cool ballpark that's right there?
No, they also hate the owner. So I think a lot of them are going to be like, we're out, we're divorcing you. And I agree. I mean, I think it's a baggage issue. If you're Vegas, you get to kind of vet a new group that most likely you're going to be able to trust and work with better
Absolutely.
versus someone who's been in the mix for a while and has proven to be, frankly, really terrible to their fans. I don't want that in my city.
Exactly.
And if you're a government official, you usually have a lot of power. So
Yeah.
it's
And you
fun
want
to
to win
speculate.
election again, usually.
Yep.
And you don't want to bring a team in that does that. Let's say John Fisher moves to Vegas and he's like, man, I'm making all this money. Oh, by the way, my payroll's $30 million.
Treats fans like shit.
Treats fans like crap like he does out in Oakland. And the Vegas fans like, we ain't showing up. And then he's like, well, on to Portland or on to Nashville, on to Orlando. Okay, well, let's make that scenario happen. But besides that,
You don't want him.
no, but we'll kick him out. We'll find someone else.
No, interesting. So food for thought. Stay tuned on that one. A couple smaller things. Minor league deal for Gary Sanchez resurfacing for now with the Mets.
Is this a story, though, anymore?
Fine, it's not.
No, I mean, he hasn't played in the big leagues the whole year.
Well, a minor league deal with the Giants. They let him go because he wasn't called
Yeah.
up. So trying to make it back. I think it would have been better.
But he
if
hasn't had a
Kratz-
good year in how many years?
No,
Honestly.
I agree. The thing with him was you're looking at the bat going, worth it for the bat, and the bat hasn't come around like we thought it would. There was a lot of potential in that bat.
When he first came up,
Yeah.
oh, he was
Yeah.
great.
He was great.
And
Who you
then-
telling?
Yeah, but then he hit.
You saw it,
He
right?
hit under 200 for
chased
like
it.
3 years in a row, right?
Yeah. It's the major leagues, man. They figure it out. And, what sucks about sports and society now is that you have a good month, a good stretch, however long you want to say, and they just blow you. Like, oh, he's the next this. They start comparing you to these greats. They put you on this pedestal. Hey, man, it shit's hard. Okay? You got to do it next year. Oh, you got to do it again the following year. You won Rookie of the Year this year? Hey, man, you had a great year. You're about to get paid $15,000 more next year. You got to do it again. And then you got to do it again. Oh, forget, you got to do it again. That's what people always, that's what I don't like about when it comes to just sports and social media is like they blow the athletes too much for a week of work. Like, again, he had a great week. He had a great stretch. It's a long season, but because somebody had okay, I'm just gonna throw a name out there. I hope he has a fantastic year. Jared Kelnick. He struggled when he first got called up. He's having a fantastic start. I'm so happy for him. If he doesn't maintain this start, they're not going to talk about him no more. They're not going to remember. They're going to say, "Oh, he struggled." They're not going to remember the fantastic April he had. because all those tweets go away, and sports fans live in not even a 24-hour moment; they live in like in an hour moment. So that's the part that always sucks to me, man, when it comes to social media and fandom, and just realize this is hard, man. It's hard.
No, it
Personally,
is. And he had a little run there, and it could be coming to an end if this one doesn't work out.
right?
One more, and then we'll get to some locks, and then we're gonna do a little pump the brakes on teams we like and don't like right now. Yeah, some hot starts, and even some hot teams right now. Like, yeah, we're even gonna get a little Tigers talk in there. Little Pirates, we'll go back to them. Don't worry. Christian Walker celebrated Lourdes Gurriel Jr. getting his American citizenship. I just thought this was awesome. Like, we celebrate on this show when you hit your 10 years, which is a huge deal for players, and we bring them on often. How about this? He's rocking the USA gear for his guy, Lourdes, because you know it's a big deal. Also, apparently that test is no joke. The citizen test. Like,
How?
there's real questions.
But he's Cuban, though. Isn't it when the Cubans get to American soil, they are citizens?
No,
No.
you still got to pass the test because I remember when Ozzie Guillen did it.
Okay.
It was a big deal. He flew to New York. I think he missed a game. Flew to New York and did it, and then had to fly back.
Yep.
It was a huge deal.
So the Cubans can come here and then they can stay and they have the right to fill out the applications.
They can asylum. They can
asylum.
They can say I want asylum because of the communist government in Cuba.
Right.
And we'll keep them here, but they're not citizens. They don't have the rights of every citizen of the United States until they do the test and do the whole ceremony, and they have to stand. I think it's at Statue of Liberty. Don't they do it at the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
And they stand there and they say a big thing, and then you.
Well, and it's a certain amount of years.
Yeah, because Lourdes is. I mean, I think the 6th or 7th year here.
Yeah. So, and that's what it is. There's a certain amount of years I think that you have to hit. I don't know all of the facts, but it's not easy, right? It takes time, takes tests, and just to be proud to be an American citizen. So I thought that was cool to point out.
It takes 1-2.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Jonesy just said, shit's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's paperwork, man.
All right, let's get to some locks, and then we'll go back to a little pump the brakes action to get ourselves around the league to some other ball clubs that we haven't touched on in a little bit. Your BetMGM locks for Monday. I am fucking cold. Nice. White Sox, I wanted so bad, not so bad. I was like, over or White Sox money line, and I fell for the classic White Sox are good situation and lost.
For the White Sox, okie doke.
Yeah, Cease hit his K prop for AJ. AJ stays hot, and Locane is above 500.
Yeah,
with that St. Louis. That was a good bet because guess what? The Cardinals won the first game of a series for the first time in, I believe, 11 tries already this year.
And they were facing Stroman at Wrigley.
Bang. That was a good hit.
Maybe it was Contreras' fault.
That was what I speculated about. I go, what if they go on a win streak now? And then he does want to go back to catcher, but then all the pitchers are like, yo, we can't do that. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good problem. But anyway, we'll update Moneybags. We'll go pretty quick with that because we're not in great shape at the moment, but we're working on things. 16
Damn, Kratz.
Flipping. Yeah, Kratz has been a mess. Jonesy is by far the best of this bunch.
Well, I mean,
you're catching up.
4-1. You know, I mean,
what you're saying?
You started out 7-0, and look at you now. I mean,
I'm still 16-12, 7-0. I'm still 4 games up. So
I know.
4 wins up, and 315 is what you really want to look at, and because sometimes obviously you're going for a plus bet, and that's why we do the money part of it too. Some people just do their records, which makes no sense. Jonesy, you're 4-1, so your BetMGM lock for Tuesday is
he's back, and he's going to let you know he's back. That is Mr. Judge, and I got him going deep because they need him. The Yankees need him. They're in last place in the American League East. They're above 500, but that's not good enough for Yankee fans. And Mr. Judge needs to make his presence felt. So I got him going today against Rushinsky. Sorry, Rushinsky. I don't know you. So.
hey, you better make sure his hip is okay.
Make sure
his hip doesn't hurt.
Is that your hip?
Apparently, with Judge it is.
He's plus 195. So
that's what we talked about. That's a low number.
It is a low
for
number.
A home run.
It is.
That means a lot of people think he's going to do it.
Hell yeah, they do.
I'm one of them. Got to make himself felt.
What do you have?
I'm going. It's kind of a weird one. It's a lot to put on the screen, but Grayson Rodriguez, Orioles pitcher, giving up over 5.5 hits versus the Rays. The Rays just pound everybody in Camden Yards. Grayson Rodriguez. The only thing I worry about with this is he doesn't go deep into games, but I feel like the Rays are going to probably jump them early, get some singles. They always hit home runs. So I feel like Grayson Rodriguez is going to give up over 5.5 hits tonight. It's plus 100, so it's basically a pretty even bet. But the only thing I worry about is he going to be in the game long enough? But if he's not in the game long enough, that means he's getting whacked around, so I win either way.
Yes. Rays offense is good. No, I like it.
Really good.
I think it's a 50-50 kind of bet in my mind. I don't know if it's a lock. But
I wanted your bet, but
I'm
then
gonna
you
tail
stole it, so I had to change.
we collab and do well sometimes.
I know, sometimes.
Yeah. So I've got Oakland Yanks over 8.5. Feels like a trap. Feels like a trap.
Low, right? It seems like it's a low number.
Thought it was going to be 9.5. Feels like a trap. Drew Rucinski, I mean, only 2 starts, 7.71, but it's Oakland. I mean, their pitching's not good. And Clark, piece of Schmidt, close to a 6 ERA.
Isn't he? What's he owing something to, isn't he?
I don't know. I don't look at win-loss, but
Oh, I do.
7
matters.
starts. It hasn't
That
looked
matters.
good. Even
He's
Hicks,
0-3 with a
he's
5.83.
0-3. Even Hicks
Yeah.
homered last night. Oakland has been over in their run totals against whoever they're playing in, I believe it's 14 of their last 19 on the road. Last night, this would have hit, and at least the way the pitching sets up for tonight, it's just, you're like, this should hit. There's way too many things coming together here. Judge is back. He's going to homer according to Jonesy. I'm like, do I bet the mortgage on it that I don't have? So minus 120 to win a hundo. We'll see what happens. So bet 10, get a hundo
What about
instantly.
Kratz's pick?
Oh, shoot. You're right. Let me just say Kratz's. He was supposed to send me his reasoning.
Right.
But
Fade. Because it's
Ohtani
Ohtani.
over
Ooh.
for a knock.
He just has to get one hit.
And lefty.
right?
Yeah, but he's got to face a righty at some point in the game, later in the game.
Yeah, but lefty doesn't bother him. I mean, he's facing Framber,
Yeah.
Valdez.
Framber's nasty.
Is it for hits or is it for total bases?
Either one, you still got to get one hit.
Yeah, but total bases is different.
Oh, well.
Oh, you're saying if it's at a half.
Yeah, if it's at a half,
Yeah,
you
you
get
gotta hit.
total base gets over a half. Total base.
Keep talking so I can look this up.
Okay, well, I'm saying that seems low, though. He must really suck against lefties because I can't believe 0.5.
That is incorrect. Something happened here.
Oh, well.
His over for a hit is minus 150. So
Ooh.
we could have used Kratzy at this point. Let me check total bases.
It's got to be
No.
about the same, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, what do we got here, Kratzy?
Yeah.
We will clarify.
Yeah. Now let's ignore Kratz. He's down $1,200.
For singles, it's plus 110.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So to get
So
So
he
you
gets
need an
one
actual
single.
single. I don't think that's what I think he was going for hits, so it's minus 150
Oh, well.
is most likely. But we'll clarify with him because he does have a phone, so he will text. And now, bet 10, get a hundo instantly with the promo code SPICYMLB. You sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. You place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team to win its standard odds price. You get $100 in bonus bets instantly. If you sign up in Massachusetts or Ohio, it's $200 in bonus bets. It's the bonus code. You got to use it. SPICYMLB. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And now we get to spend at least like 8 minutes on something new we're trying out. It's not that complicated. It's called Pump the Brakes. So we're going to go over some teams that swung in one way or another recently and get the thoughts here. So I'd actually like to move down the list. There's a lot of teams I'm trying to figure out some teams we haven't covered, like the Tigers. They have won 6 out of 7 games. Your thoughts?
They're better than we thought they were, maybe?
Are they?
I don't know. That's
You sure you want to go there?
No,
I would say pump the brakes on that.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is they've won 6 out of 7. They beat the Mets and they beat some better teams. Cardinals, well, I guess they're not very good right now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they won 6 out of 7. Great. Just because it's early in the year, I think they're 16 and 18. We're like, oh, look at them, they're pretty good. But let's pump the brakes. They're not going to make the World Series. They're not probably going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to finish in 4th place in the division. So let's slow down the Tigers. Hey, way to go, AJ Hinch. Way to go, Tigers organization. But slow down.
Yeah, they're not that good. I've seen a video. Yeah, they're not. They're just not. But I love that they fight. You know, I think Baez getting benched really sparked him and sparked, I think, them for as long as I guess this spark is going. But they fight every day, so I got to respect that. But overall, it's a good team. They're not going to I don't have them, and Nolan has them projected to go to the playoffs. But these teams like that, at the end of the day, are dangerous because they know they have nothing to lose, so they go out there and play with their hair on fire. And later in the year, teams like that can be dangerous, taking wins from others.
So you're saying Oakland's dangerous later in the year?
They
Got nothing to lose but
they
more
got
games.
nothing to lose. I guarantee you, Oakland wins a game or Detroit wins a game later in the season. Cincinnati wins a game, takes a game from somebody that you're like, damn, how did I lose that game? And it's going to be game 155 or something like that, which is, they always turn out to be big games. But that's just how the game is because, although the team constructed is not good, the players individually are going to go give it their best effort. So I got to respect that.
Some people pointing out the work of Eduardo Rodriguez right now, and I will say, best he's ever looked. He looks good. He's been efficient. He's getting weak
He wants
contact.
to get traded.
He wants to
No,
get
he's got
traded.
a deal.
He's got no, but he's got an opt out at the end of this year.
Weird how that works.
Dude's about to cash out again. It is weird how that
Weird
works.
how that works.
Yeah.
You
Won't go on
mentioned
a deal
Javi
this year.
Baez. You mentioned, or one of you guys, I think,
Hasn't
Joey.
struck out in like 5 games or something.
But he got benched, and if you notice, their hot streak kind of has gone with him since that benching. Now, as soon as he starts swinging at balls over his head and that bounce in the grass and all that, and he starts going, maybe they need the good Javi Baez. They need a consistent Javi Baez. It's kind of more like this instead of like.
I'm going to stop you there.
EKG.
He's not consistent.
That's what I'm saying. They need one that's like this.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, so he's like the EKG. It's like
yes.
When he's up here, man, he looks great. When then he goes.
They also need Riley Green or Spencer Torkelson to be a star. Maybe not yet. I mean, they're young.
Yeah,
but
if you watch him, though, Riley Green to me seems like
he's got it.
The better bet right now.
Than Torkelson.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you just watch the swings, you watch the at-bats, the defense plays in center field.
He's younger, too. I think Torque might be 25 already now. Not that that's old, but I'm saying, like, it's not like,
it ain't young either.
Rookie. No, it's not. He didn't come in as a 20-year-old rookie or something. I mean, he was a college stud. So that's a former 1-1, who's still
figuring it out.
Figuring
Takes
it
longer,
out.
though.
Which, hey, there's plenty of guys. Like the magic number used to be, and it still kind of is sometimes, 27. Certain guys hit 27 that weren't clicking, but they had high potential. Maybe they were high draft picks or they perform well in the minors and they didn't do much in the majors for a few years. And all of a sudden they hit 27 and you're like, oh, shit. So that could happen. Yeah, they have some young talent on that team.
They do.
Not enough.
But no, they're not good.
Jake Rogers, the catcher, I like him. Got a nasty stash.
You just like his mustache.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you don't like his bat. You like his stash.
He went yah-yah the other night. I like it.
No, he did. They swept the Mets. That's who I want to get to next.
The Cardinals.
And
See, I'm telling you,
they didn't sweep the Cardinals. They lost.
The Mets are going to look back at those 3 games at some point in the season and be like, I'm 1 back of Atlanta.
Or the games against the Rockies, they lost.
That too. I don't think they're going to look at Atlanta. I don't think they're going to be one. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they're going to catch Atlanta.
I think Atlanta's going to potentially run away. But on your point, I think they might look in the wild card at some point and go, shit, remember that week where we got rocked by the Tigers and Rockies?
Mm-hmm.
That sucked. I mean, Kodai Senga looks nasty still.
Yeah,
but then what else?
We pumping the brakes on the Mets? I'm pumping the brakes on them catching Atlanta.
For sure. I think they're a prime pump the brakes team right now.
Now, wild card is a real possibility, but you don't spend $350 million, whatever the owner's paying, for a team to make the wild card. You make that money to win the division and win the World Series, and
100 wins, all the above.
I don't think 100 wins is a realistic thing either with the way. I mean, they obviously lost Edwin Diaz, and that was a big loss, but I didn't realize it was going to be this big of a loss. Between Diaz and then they moved Ottavino to the closer, and it kind of messed up their bullpen. And Adam, as you know, Buck is supposedly a master of running the bullpen.
Yeah.
But Scherzer hasn't looked like Max. Verlander's pitched one time, I think one time back, right? Senga's been good, but he pitched great the one time, but he also I think the 2 starts previous he got whacked around pretty good. Lucchesi hasn't been very good for him.
He's not supposed to be.
Quintana's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Carrasco's not there.
Carrasco's
yet.
not there. They gave up on Taijuan Walker, so it's kind of they're piecing it together. Nimmo's off to a great start. Lindor hasn't really done what they thought he would do. They've already called up Beatty. They already called up Alvarez. They're their 2 big prospect guys.
There's more prospects though.
But those are the 2 big ones.
People want Mauricio.
can't call up all the prospects.
Yeah.
You got
Why?
players everywhere. Because you got players. You got Arcana, Nimmo, McNeil,
Escobar is really struggling.
Beatty's playing third base.
I know.
Alonso, you ain't getting rid of him. You ain't getting rid of Lindor. Behind the plate, you have Narvaez, who hasn't played, I don't think, this year, has he?
Narvaez, I don't.
Because that's why they have Alvarez and Nito.
Yep.
Who plays right field for him?
Marte.
Marte. He's not having a good start at
No.
all. But who are you going to replace with a prospect? Where are you going to put him?
Yeah.
Good point.
Great. Call up a prospect. Now release Francisco Lindor? No. Release McNeil? No. Release Nimmo? No.
5 games for Narvaez.
Okay.
But yeah, basically hasn't.
I mean,
hasn't
great.
been
Yeah,
a
we have
factor.
prospects. Where are you
Also-
going to play?
Yeah.
Jordan Walker. Hey, guess what? You're a great prospect. Go back to AAA, kid.
Well, that was a mistake.
I agree.
Big one.
That's holding him down for the clock. Service time. They're like, he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, maybe? All right, let's push him back down. We're not going to get that draft pick. Push him
But what
back
does that-
down.
But now, what does that do? That Contreras is the DH. It holds him down there even more. Unless knock on wood, an injury happens. Hopefully that doesn't. But that's kind of his only pathway back. That kind of stinks. The guy's good. I know he's not hitting in the minors because he's probably mad, but he doesn't need to be in the minors.
I agree. You're hitting 270 something. You're well above
Yeah.
average on the bat. I know it's not just batting average. I get it. And like Burleson on that team was not hitting. And they were like, he's hitting the ball harder. Okay.
Give me a guy that gets hits over hitting the ball harder. I'll take the guy that gets hits.
100%.
Are we back to the Pirates for a moment, though?
Sure.
Can we pump the brakes? They
I
won
thought we
yesterday
went full break check.
on them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
E-break,
did.
full circles.
Keller was
Keller's
the
been good for
star
a
last
year.
night. I do
Keller's
want to
been
give
good.
him a minute. I mean, he's been good. He's had potential for years, and it was that guy where you're looking at him going, "Here we go again." Cole, Musgrove, Morton. They're like, it's only a
Glasnow.
matter of time. Who?
Glass now?
Glass now. They go, it's only a matter of time. Mitch Keller is going to be an ace on the name that team. Dodgers, Astros, Yankees, whatever. But
Yeah.
I think the Pirates took that personally. And they're like, all right, new regime-ish. We are going to develop some of our high potential pitching. And Keller's coming along. So pitched very well last night.
I want the
CG.
Pirates to do good. I'm not pumping the brakes just because I want them to do good.
Yeah, but you have to give your
My reason is
Real
just because the
opinion.
people in Pittsburgh deserve a winning team. That's my real opinion.
I know, but they've lost 7 of 8.
I know, but I said I'm not pumping the brakes because I want them to do good. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it.
Well, you're just not playing the game correctly then.
My opinion is I want them to be good, so therefore, gosh darn, I'm going to wish it into existence.
Are they a playoff team?
No, but I still want them to be.
I want Pittsburgh to do well,
I want Pittsburgh to go to the World Series.
but
Everybody does not get a trophy.
thank you.
I like that. I believe that too.
Me too. So
Eighth place. Here you go. You stand on the podium.
Oh, dude, wait till how old are your kids play baseball? Wait till they get to travel ball, and you have to play. You have to play the 15th place bracket on Sunday after a 4-hour rain delay, and they're like,
We're going home.
By the way, you get medals. You won the Tin Cup division. Here you go. Here's your medal, and then you go home with a big trophy, and everyone, and then your whatever school or whatever travel ball, they put it in their cages, and they say, look, we won the Tin Cup bracket at the perfect game, blah 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 tournament.
We're leaving.
Exactly.
We're getting in the car.
We forfeited a few times. I ain't staying here with this.
No, ain't taking no team picture for 18th place. I'm out. No, different era though. You know, I just appreciate the kids participating, play hard.
No, I just hope both teams have fun.
Yes.
participation trophy for the White Sox.
I'm not talking about the White Sox on the show until they get to 500.
So we just can't talk about them for the rest of the year.
No one in the majors gets participation trophy. I mean, you gotta. It's we know the league. It's put up or shut up. You can put up the numbers, or shut up and go on vacation. You know, like
Yes.
they always say with NBA, they going to Cancun. That team is going to Cancun. Name of the game, man. Numbers don't lie. Your records don't lie. Only thing that tells the truth is whoever's hoisting up the trophy, they are deemed the best team. Besides that, all of this is BS.
Jonesy, like I just said, I ain't talking about the White Sox till they're relevant. Because every time it happens, and even Scott fell for the White Sox freaking zig when they're supposed to zag trick. They're playing
Just cease.
They're playing the Royals. They got Cease on the mound.
They're
They're hot. They scored 20 runs in the game before,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Oh, they're going to crush the Royals. Boop, 12-5, got your ass kicked. All right, let's start back over and try to build it back up. Oh, Pedro Gaffoli knows the Royals. They should kill him. He knows all their players. Boop, 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 boop. Cease gives up 20 runs. 12-5 loser. All right, now the White Sox fans are like, gosh, we suck again. But wait, yesterday when you beat the Reds, you were great. See, this is the Javi Baez fandom. Woo, woo, woo.
It's the roller coaster ride of being a fan of a team. You can't get too high or too low. Some of the best ball players, they stay level. Just saying. Let's slap some hands, shall we? Because there's something I want to get into here for a few minutes.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So,
Ball.
speaking of ball,
Bad framing.
speaking of ball, especially for the podcast crowd who can't see the slap hands video, it's relevant that you said that because yesterday on FT Live, Guardians all-star second baseman Andres Jimenez spoke about how he loved what Wander Franco did, the little ball flip, as some call it. And he said this. Let's see if we can get the sound running. Otherwise, I'll paraphrase.
The play that I made in the All-Star game, I do it almost the last ground ball that I took on the practice, but I never did it in the game. It just was in the All-Star game that it just happened. Yeah, I maybe have something more, but if I have the chance to make another one, I'm gonna keep you guys on the waiting.
Yes.
I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep it for surprise for you guys.
Well, hours later, we learned about that surprise.
I thought it was the other one you were going to show.
That's what we're going to show. So we were showing that was a clip.
I don't think that was
posted across our
planned, though.
socials.
See, he was talking about planning something, like when he went behind the back, that was planned.
Yeah, he was
Or when
talking
Wander
about the All-Star
Franco-
game.
Yeah,
Yes.
or when Wander Franco flipped the ball. That play he made last night wasn't like, oh, I'm going to slide and flip it with my glove awesomely.
Yeah.
That was just the only way he could get him out. I think he's got something better in that plan.
I know. This is a tongue-in-cheek segment. That's why we're doing it during slap hands.
Well, why don't you tell me these things in the meeting?
So let's show you. You take everything so literally.
Oh, I know. I'm like Scott Braun now. I just get mad. Now, this is what I thought you were talking about.
This is what I'm talking about.
This was unplanned. This was ballsy.
That's ballsy. You said that.
Akil Baddoo took a shot and gave the assist to Jimenez to tag him.
And you out.
This is the one. This is
He
the
is
angle
out.
right here. He doesn't catch it cleanly either. He whiffs it out, and then he goes right. What are the chances?
That's insane. That is
Wear a cup, kids.
off the backboard.
Ouch.
If you're listening to the podcast, I advise you to check out the YouTube version of this at some point, or we'll put it on our socials. It already was on our socials from last night, wherever
Check
you
out
get your socials.
Check out the umpire with the Jubilee Jordans on, though. Don't miss that fact.
Hell yeah. Oof. So Baddoo said afterward, hold on, I'll get the line, but it was something along the lines of, yeah, I might reconsider and wear a cup.
Yeah.
No. You're an outfielder. You're an outfielder. Outfielders don't wear cups. If you wear a cup as outfielder, you suck. Your hands are bad. But again, but there are to that. There's outfielders that are just players that wear cups just because for some reason they can't wear a uniform without it. I know coaches that can't wear uniform without it. Man, when I went from shortstop to center field, I threw all my cups into the Riverwalk in San Antonio. Get rid of all these damn things. I'm done out here. I'm gonna sit out here and have my legs spread, and I'm gonna think about the flies and count the butterflies out here and think about hitting.
Well, what about as a base
I couldn't
runner?
step
though?
on the field without a cup.
So you DH'd with a cup?
Oh hell yeah! Dude, I couldn't take batting practice without a cup on.
Really?
I mean, I couldn't even step on the field just because I've always worn one since I was like 7 years old.
That was your golden thong.
Yes.
Johnny Damon, Legends Territory episode. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Doug McCavich, Legend Territory.
Yeah, coming
episode
soon.
2. That's coming also. But
True.
I couldn't even. I don't know. Now, if I was a coach, I still would feel like I would need to wear a cup. I don't know. I just feel better. Just feels right.
Well, Baddoo said, now I got the quote, I'd never experienced something like that before, but it makes me think
Ouch.
twice about wearing a cup now.
You were in
I've never
San Fran
seen
with
anything
Flannery.
like that.
You were in San Fran
No, I
with
wasn't.
Flannery.
No.
You was in San Fran? Okay. But you remember Tim Flannery?
Yeah.
Always rode spikes.
Yeah. Jim Leland.
Leland always had on
Bobby
spikes.
Cox.
Yeah. It's just a.
What's
amazing? You put on a uniform, you need it.
What's amazing is how many infielders don't wear cups. Infielders.
Oh yeah,
It's dicey.
I know tons of them that don't.
We had a kid on a little 12-year-old team. Wouldn't wear a cup. Catching. Refused. Said, I'm going to quit if I have to wear a cup. I'm like, well, you ain't catching or playing on my team in the dirt if you don't have a cup on. And
It's his balls.
But he goes, my hands are good. I said, listen, dude, you know who Adrian Beltre is? He's like one of the greatest third basemen of all time. I watched him get hit right square in the balls at third base. Had to go to the hospital, had to get surgery. I go, you got better hands than Adrian Beltre? He goes, no. I said, then you go wear a damn cup. He quit.
He quit? No shit. Oh, that's a great way to finish. Thank you so much for joining us to Pete Abraham from the Boston Globe. And Joe Musgrove was awesome. If you missed any of that, no, I know. But Joe's a player, and he let loose on a lot of fronts. So, BK, call and apologize. Brian Kenny,
Please.
to Joe.
No, please. Do it now, BK.
Yeah, be a man.
Do it in person.
Grow up.
Call somebody.
Yes, in person. Yeah, you'll probably see him at the All-Star game. So, we'll see you Wednesday. We're here every day, 1 to 3 Eastern. Later.